Baturdays. Baturdays. Omnidog and the Minister of Comics. Talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the bat. Baturdays. 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 In the BatCave.
Heyo, and good evening to Baturdays in the BatCave. I'm your co-host, Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault. That's the channel you're watching right now. With the Minister of Comics. Minister, you're shaking your head. How's life going? Is it the extra kid now that you have to take care of? Extra ministerial duties? Snow that you have to shovel? What's vexing you, my friend?
You'd think it'd be all the above. But do you know what really grinds my gears?
No. Well, I mean,
stupid
yeah.
X-Men, man.
What?
The stupid X-Men, man.
Sorry, I stepped all over you. The stupid X-Men.
I can't handle how many books there are, how many entries there are, how many side characters you get to figure out. I can't do it anymore. X-Men no more. We're going to find out by the end of this episode.
When will the minister get his own omni-animal designation? Well, I think that's up to him. He likes being at Minister of Comics, so if he wants to...
You took the only good pet, so... No offense to Kristen, but...
You could be a genre, a type, a breed of dog.
I do have a golden retriever, but Omni Golden Retriever doesn't sound very good.
Omni Golden. He's a great dog. I love that dog.
Omni Murdoch.
Oh.
He was taking it like a champ night. Sam was jumping all over him. Murdoch just wanted to sleep on the couch, and Sam was reading on top of him, sitting on him. And Murdoch kept looking at me like this, like, really? Whenever Sam goes to bed, Murd passes out for the rest of the night.
He's so great. I love Bat Sam and Murdoch too. They're both so great. Let's see. We have Marcelo from Mexico. Oxmeat Pete. I think he's from the Antarctic. Mr. Awesome from Pittsburgh. Rodimus Prime Rib. With that title, I cannot miss this show.
Good, because that was the point.
Yeah, you just heard it. Hot takes and hot cakes. I think you're more likely to get hot cakes than hot takes. We've had this debate so many times about hot takes. I think on the Omnibros show, I think I'm more comfortable with unpopular opinions than I am hot takes. Hot takes seem designed to really piss people off, and I'm not into that. But that doesn't mean my co-host isn't. He can hot take away. Give us another hot take. Give us a hot take on tonight's subject. What do you think?
I think that the X-Men have way too many titles right now, which probably isn't that much of a hot take.
Do you even think that's an unpopular opinion?
I refuse to read all of them, basically. And I know you and I had a conversation recently where I said, do I really have to buy this Hellfire Gala hardcover? Like, do I really have? First of all, this isn't a hot take. Marvel is really stepping over the bounds of decency with their pricing on books.
Oh,
did you hear about the Strange Academy hardcover?
Strange Academy hardcover. No.
Here's what they're doing. You'd think that they would put the first 12 issues in that hardcover, right?
Uh-oh.
What they decided to do was put the first 6 issues in colored and then reduplicate the first 6 issues black and white. And it's costing $75.
I beg your pardon?
They're going to do the colored edition of the first 6 issues.
I understood what you said. I just can't believe what I
couldn't believe it. I'm just going to buy those trade paperbacks. I'm not shelling money out for that crap.
That's what I have, is just the 2 trades.
And Marvel keeps doing this $75 hardcover that's not worthy of it. Well, it's really bugging me.
What was this one? This is a $60 hardcover.
That one was that 60?
I think so. Wait, my
I
lights
think,
are
I think
dark. Yeah,
75.
60. It says 60.
That's at least worth it. 'Cause that's a pretty big book.
Yeah.
There's
And
some
then,
that are like 75 that are not worth the $75 cover price.
now
Marvel's
this
starting. Also, Jess, you know the Marvel OHCs that we love? They're $35.
yeah.
They're raising the price to $40 now.
well.
Like the Daredevil Volume 2, Thor Volume 5, or whatever it is by Jason Aaron. That's all going to be $40 now.
Thor number 5 is that? Oh, okay. So there's another hardcover out there.
Maybe it's not 5. It's hard to remember because they have Thor: God of Thunder and then the other ones after that. So I'm not sure which one it is now.
Oh,
Maybe
all right.
I think it is 5 actually.
They're in the other room, so I don't know. I didn't feel like $100. Well, I think 75 is probably what I would have felt better with this book, but this book does give you an awful lot of reading material. It took me bang for my buck, and since I didn't get it at 100, I got it at like 40% off. This, as far as bang for my buck for reading material, X of Swords didn't take me a long time to read in a bad sense. It took me a long time to read because there was so much of it and there was so much going on in it. So I don't mind the price on that one, and I don't mind the price on this one, but I don't like that idea of Strange Academy for $75 for 6 issues. Who wants to see them uncolored? Was there a big demand for that?
No idea. I mean, it's somewhat similar to the Absolute Edition of the Batman Year One. There's $125.
Yeah.
And what you get is 2 books. It's actually a really cool concept, what they did. What's not cool is the price.
Yeah.
I would have definitely shelled out money for that, except for the price. Like the Killing Joke. I know we're both not the biggest Killing Joke fans, but that Absolute was pretty affordable comparatively because it was very short.
Yeah.
And so that Absolute for Batman Year One should have been $75 max, not $125.
Right.
And so I don't mind when books are expensive. You have to have it be worth the price that you're paying.
I agree.
As Tyler refers to figures, price per plastic, price per page. I'm going to do that for books, price per page.
Okay.
And that's ridiculous. $75 for the first 6 issues of Strange Academy in color and black and white. That's just a height of stupidity. And I don't want anyone to reward Marvel for that decision. I refuse to buy that. If that really is the case, that's what I've heard. Don't quote me and say that's fact.
Oh, I thought it was fact.
That's what I heard on the Omnibus collectors group. So that's what I've seen someone post. So that might not be true, but apparently that's what's going to happen.
Well, I was looking forward to the hardcover. I did not pre-order it, but I wanted it because not only would it be oversized, but it's oversized compared to the digest size things Strange Academy comes out in, which is odd because the art is so gorgeous. And I guess because it's the kids of the magical beings like Kid Dormammu or whatever, maybe they wanted it to be smaller to appeal to a younger audience, but I still don't get it. I really think that artwork.
I think that's pretty popular for that demographic of graphic novel. Like I forget this woman's name. She's the most popular like graphic novelist ever. I forget what her name is, but she sells like millions of copies basically. And I think those are like smaller volumes. And also they're thinking of manga. Manga is very popular among teenagers.
Is it?
And so that's a much smaller size as well. So
is her name like Lenny Reg TL Telentman? What?
Someone tell us in the chat who's like the most popular. Like she's not like a comics like Marvel DC writer, but she's like has like her own brand kind of. It starts with the T, I think the last name.
Yeah, it's like Raina
Tellemeier.
Who gave us that?
Mr. Tex.
I'm so far behind. Okay, there it is. Yeah.
And Mark Marcel, yeah.
Well, you confirm what we're interested in is the contents.
Yeah, people tell me if I'm right about them reduplicating those issues. But even if it's 12 issues, $75 for 12 issues, regardless, is egregious.
Well,
think about like those Marvel OHCs we're just talking about. A lot of those are 10 to 12 issues, and they're $35. $75 is insane for 12 issues.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
So even if I'm wrong about the black and white stuff, $75 is still really expensive for that amount of issues. But yeah, I'm thinking they put those out.
My background. Why did I even highlight that?
I think they're putting out those Strange Academies in smaller digest versions because of manga, and also I could be wrong. Maybe I think Raina Tellemeyer's books are also in that smaller format.
Okay,
they're probably a little cheaper too, so it makes it a little bit more affordable.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
Well then, okay, I get it completely. But I am totally on board with. I would want all 12. But yeah, $75 for 12 issues seems like a lot. What did we get in House of X? Wasn't this 20 issues? Oh no, this was 12 issues for 60.
Is that 12 issues, really?
Yeah, House of X 1 through 6, Powers of X 1 through 6.
Okay.
This is House of X. X of Swords is a lot more than that.
That's what I was gonna say. I thought you were holding up X of Swords.
Yeah, no, it's I can't even describe how many books are in this. But Dean saying, hey Dean, they are increasing the Omni prices too. They started $150 cover already. Yeah.
I mean, this is going to help us, Jess, because we're both trying to be more frugal this year and trying to buy less. So I really just need to buy the things I really want. It can't be like, oh, this looks interesting. It has to be, I love this. Or it's like a Brubaker book. It's a Tom Taylor book. Again, I know I love this character. Not just this character, because that's not enough anymore. I'm not just going to buy any Batman book that comes out.
Right.
It has to be by a team that I really love. Because I'm running out of shelf space. You're in a worse spot than I am, but
I'm running out of house space.
I don't know. You are selling a lot of stuff, so maybe you are in a better spot at this point.
I'm making room. Yeah, I've got a lot of room. I keep the stacks there because I think they're funny. Just to have two giant, bit taller than I am stacks. That's there not because I'm lazy, just because I think it's funny to have two big stacks like that. And I'm only amusing myself. Nobody else, knows about it. And here's Farhan. Hello, Justin Taylor. How things going? X-Men annoys me in a sense that their omnis always tend to get out of print, especially the ones that I want. Peace and love. Cheers. Okay, that is fair. I in the U.S. it's that way, so I imagine in Malaysia it's even worse.
And Chris' original recipe has maybe an explanation for why these books are starting to cost a little bit more from Marvel at $8.14.
This one?
Yeah.
Some of those expensive OHCs are because they print them in the U.S. And I do know that paper's more expensive. I don't know where we stand with the paper shortage, but I know that the paper they get is more expensive. So I get it. I don't know. We can only the only way we can protest is to not buy what we don't want. But the fact is if you give me something I really want in a format I really want, I'm probably going to pay what you ask.
Yeah, there's going to have to be a point where we both have to shut down what we're going to buy to a certain extent. Like, at what point do we kind of have to walk away and wash our hands and maybe just read digitally? Because I can't keep collecting the amount that I do now forever unless I get a bigger space, which I could. But it's just hard to imagine that.
Well, that's one of the laws of collecting is that even if you get a bigger space, you will fill it up. Your collection grows to fit the size of your room and then more.
Rodimus Prime Ribs, his X of Swords is printed in Kentucky. Maybe that was printed in Omar's basement, and that's why he price gouged us. It's all Omar's fault.
But we haven't. Okay, so where is Omar? Is he not in here? That jerk. Okay, X-Men annoying us. Not only, okay, it started out, they wiped the slate clean, right?
Yeah, was it 3 years ago at this point or 2 years ago?
I feel like it was
2019, I think. It was
2019, it feels like, which is 3 years ago now. But this seemed like a good starting point. House of X, Powers of X. And we started with them. I loved this book. It was a good starting point. Now, I'm not going to jam Marvel up too hard for these Dawn of X books, because these were sort of, I feel like they were a publishing experiment to put all of the books in that were coming out monthly into trade paperback form.
And I listened to Hickman in a recent interview, from a while, like a year ago, and he said he tried to convince Marvel to price those books at $10, and they refused. He said they'll sell even better if you price them at $10.
And they're all priced at $18, twice that almost.
And he said he was very disappointed with the price they decided to go. He said, no, Marvel said we're gonna price this at a premium, basically.
Which they did. $18 is a lot for one of these skinny trades.
I think he was saying that because look at him at Image when he does their first trades. At least they used to do this. They used to do them at $10 to get people invested, to get people in. And so he took that and said, why don't you try that here? And Marvel said, no way. This is Marvel Comics. We're going to charge as much as we can because people will pay it.
Yeah.
And they sold really well, he said. But he said they would have sold even better if they had listened to him.
Well, publishers are famous for not listening to creators, especially with pricing.
Well, he's somebody who's really interesting because he's allowed to design his books.
Yeah.
That's why his books look so different than anybody else's. And he's one of the rare creators that the big two lets him design his books.
Right. Did you just say he's the only one?
I don't know if he's the only one, but I think Donny Cates actually told Marvel what to put in the Absolute Carnage omnibus.
I did hear that too.
And so what we're seeing is creators who are immensely popular with a massive pull. So it's very, very, I mean, rarefied air is Donny Cates and Jonathan Hickman. Those are top tier creators at Marvel. So I don't think many people get that much say-so in a collected edition besides those two, and maybe a select few others.
Right. I'm willing to, I mean, I got all these and I read them and I did a video on them so that people could understand how to read Dawn of X after House of 10, Powers of 10. And I went along with it because I wanted to see how they read, what the story was going forward. And I found it an interesting concept. We're going to start with Dawn of X books for my side. Like in volume 9, we've got New Mutants 8, Marauders 9, Cable 1, X-Men 8 through 9, X-Force number 9. So that's how it was 1 through 16. I got them all. I read them all. Different writers for different books. But if you sat down and read them all together, it worked organically to tell a story. Now, some books were much better than others. Like Hellions by, was it Zeb Wells? I think Hellions by Zeb Wells was hilarious and funny and fantastic and stuck out. Whereas the one book I really wanted, Fallen Angels, that had both my faves in it. Wasn't
that Brian Hill of American Carnage and Postal?
We like him.
Yeah, we usually like his stuff.
I have to.
Didn't that get canceled anyway?
Well, it got canceled after 6 issues, but it also wasn't good. Which is
well,
why
I think usually at Marvel, a book gets canceled not because of its quality, but because it's a Kelly Thompson book.
Yeah. Let me see who wrote. I'm having trouble finding.
I'm pretty sure Brian Hill did Fallen Angels.
Okay, well, I'm surprised at that because it was 2 awesome characters with a good idea in it, and I've actually liked Brian Hill's previous stuff, so I'm surprised. I'm surprised that I didn't even clue into the fact that it was Brian Hill, but that was. I think that's you have the high point, which is like X-Men and by Hickman and Hellions, and then you have Fallen Angels, which just didn't work. So I didn't mind getting, but to ask other people, like I feel like I need to get all these because I wanted to do a video on them, and I wanted to provide content for people, but I also wanted to read them. But I don't know that the average person is going to have the dosh to shell out. Wait, did I put that up, or are you messing with it?
I try not to highlight stuff because I know you don't like it, but I wanted to highlight this compliment that you
You guys are perfect. Okay, you read it since you highlighted it.
You guys are a perfect team to entertain me while I paint my house. I've been listening to a lot of your videos. Thank you, Bavarian Rev, and I'm glad we can keep you company while you paint your house.
But there were 16 volumes of this, and at the high price point of $18, let's say you get it online for 40% off. That's still 10. Let's say the best case, it's $10. It's probably more like 12 times 16. That's a lot to ask people, I think, when a lot of these titles, there's a lot of titles. There's too many. I put up with it for Dawn of X. Then I read X of Swords, which tied in a ton of those books. X of Swords, X of Swords, X of Swords, X-Men, Excalibur, Marauders, X-Force, New Mutants, Wolverine, Cable, Hellions, X-Factor. That's a lot of books. And it included the stories that led up to the confrontation with the swords. They have to collect swords, and then they got to go to a tournament and fight. So, I mean, I can give a separate review of this. You have this, but you haven't read it yet?
Well, I've been waiting for the X-Men Omnibus by Hickman because that fills in some of the gaps.
Okay,
so basically,
yeah.
what I'm deciding to read, Jess, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. I just can't read all these books. I can't buy all of them. I need to be selective. So what I've decided to buy is I have House of X and Powers of 10, whichever one it is. I can't remember.
Yeah,
which
that's
one
right. That's right.
X. I have X of Swords. I'm gonna buy the Hickman X-Men Omnibus and then buy Inferno, and that's it. Forget it.
Wait, I think you should get the Hellions hardcover when it gets. It will get resolicited. It will come out. I'm telling you, it is really, really good.
Okay, but is it needed to understand his run?
No, but it's needed to have fun. Lots of fun.
But I asked you about the Hellfire Gala. Do I have to read it to understand his run? You said no.
No.
So that helped me to decide I'm not going to buy it. Because it was $75. It was pretty expensive. I just didn't, or maybe it was 50. I can't remember.
No, and the whole concept was we're going to introduce another X-Men. And then they had another poll up that they're going to introduce another X-Men.
Yeah, it's like going back to the 80s when they say, hey, do you want to kill Robin or not?
It just reminds me of what drove me nuts about the X-Men.
Well, Jess, this is happening with the new Justice League arc. We're killing the Justice League. And it's going to be exactly like 52, like 15 years ago. And so this is what happens when you're a comic fan for a long time. You see these like ideas recycled over and over and over again, these initiatives, these polls, and it can be a little bit frustrating. So I get that for sure.
Yeah. Okay,
so I'll get Hellions. I promise. I'll get.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you see people chiming in here that how good it is, and it is really good.
But I can't buy Marauders and Excalibur and New. It's just so they're all getting hardcovers, which I'm excited about for people who want to buy all this stuff. I just can't buy all of it, and I have to be selective. So get back to your.
Yeah. So these were overpriced. There were too many of them. I enjoyed them, which is the bottom line, and I accept that. Then there was the whole Dawn of X Volume 8 controversy that happened a while ago, which I thought was hilarious.
I didn't know about this.
Oh, you didn't know about this? Okay. So a person I know, I will not name them, messaged me, dude. Okay, maybe not dude, but Jess. There are no Dawn of X Volume 8s on eBay. And I said, what do you mean? The book just came out. And so I checked and I looked, and none had sold in a while and none were for sale. And he said, I just found one. I'm going to put it up for bid. And I go, for bid? Really? You're going to get like $10 for it. Over $200 for it is what this person got. Because there was only... it was the only copy of and apparently people were missing it. but then the laws of supply and demand kicked in, and this thing's back down to where it should be, which is $10. But I thought that was awesome that they just said, I'm going to put it up for bid, and boom, over $200 for this ridiculous.
What do you think
thing.
happened? Do you think Marvel wasn't selling as many as the other ones as they wanted to, and they underprinted it?
Well, no, because after that price, then they started flooding in, and now they're all over the place. I think it was like a one-time. It was sort of a gap in the distribution, and the books were out there, but I don't know how many got in consumers' hands. This may have been a book that they sort of flaked on, because 9 through 16 were easy to get, and it was just a weird eBay moment where they put up the only Dawn of X8, and he put it up for a week, and no other Dawn of X8s came in either. So the only thing I can think of, it was like a sort of people weren't paying attention moment. And they realized all of a sudden they didn't have 8 in their collection. They forgot to get it because they were out there. Because within a week, the place was flooded with people hoping to get $200 for their X-Men.
And Mr. Awesome asked earlier, is Marauders a good title?
I personally liked it because this is the
you love Kitty Pryde too.
I do. I got to like her through this run because they give her a really kick-ass personality. Although she is the one that said Professor X is a jerk. So,
well, she was like one of my favorite parts of the Joss Whedon run, Astonishing X-Men.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point.
She was fantastic. I think she's probably the star of that series.
Right. So they gave her the ship because she couldn't go through any of the portals. And, well, no, I don't want to wreck it for anybody, but about halfway through something happens, and the book's still fun, but it's not as fun as the first part.
Isn't she basically traveling the high seas to find mutants to bring to Krakoa? Is that the basic conceit?
She can't go through the portals, so she gets on a ship, and Emma puts her in charge of, I think it's making sure there are no black market versions of Krakoan herbs and plants out there. So they do a lot of pirating and attacking of smugglers that have fake Krakoan herbs and spices for people's chicken. So
that sounds like Animal Crossing, like the turnips or whatever. Gotta get up early to sell those turnips.
That was only on Sundays too. So one other book that I enjoyed Cable, because I first of all, and nobody please try to explain it to me, the fact that young Cable killed old Cable, spoiler alert, old Cable knew it was going to happen and equipped young Cable with something that happens much later. But I just love comic books that how the hell is young Cable here even? And I know he shows back up at a certain point, so it's a rhetorical question. How is this guy even here? How's old Cable getting killed by young Cable? I just don't. I'm like, and the Summers house is on the moon, which I thought that's where New Adelan was, or Arctic Land, or whatever they called it. So, and I love that all the Stepford Cuckoos, all 5 of them are back, and they're all in love with young Cable.
Kate just sent me this of Emmy downstairs.
Is that young Cable?
Yeah, Kate and Emmy are watching TV downstairs, and Kate sent me this.
And there's Cable as a young girl.
Yes, there you go. That's how it ties in.
That's exactly how it ties in, and that's Bat Emmy.
So, what are the X titles? Okay, you talked about the ones you love.
Okay, love is X-Men and Hellions.
So X-Men by Hickman is really good in your opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hellions, Marauders is good, but it kind of loses its way a little bit.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about books like New Mutants and some of the other books?
I liked a lot of it. I didn't love it all. I liked them enough to keep all these. But as far as upgrading to hardcovers, I will probably only upgrade Hellions. That's the only one I'm thinking of upgrading. Okay, something else. There's Marauders and something else that came out. Excalibur. Yeah, I thought that was well done. That's an important book I'm not sure that reading X of Swords is gonna make sense without knowing what's going on in Excalibur a little bit.
So annoying. This is why I'm so annoyed right now. It's so dumb. This is why my favorite X-Men series are ones that are self-contained and easy to understand. New X-Men.
Yep.
Astonishing X-Men.
Yep.
Uncanny X-Force.
Yep.
It's like those are just so easy. I love that trilogy of X-Men books.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's so annoying to read anything. You have to read everything to understand it. That's why I love focusing on characters. Like I love Wolverine. That's an easy character. Like Wolverine by Mark Millar. Easy to read. All New Wolverine by Tom Taylor. Wolverine by Jason Aaron. X-23. Wolverine by Greg Rucka. By Brian K. Vaughan. There's a lot of titles that are self-contained for Wolverine that are easy to read and understand. Yeah. The X-Men just need to read everything. Like even like Omar buys everything and hates most of it. So I think most X-Men fans seem to hate more than half of the entire history of it. And so it's just like it's not worth it to me. I'd rather just cherry pick the ones that are easy to understand and not impenetrable, because Hickman's run started as seeming like it was going to be simple. Let's do 2 titles. Why didn't they just stick to that? That would have been awesome. I think House of X Powers of 10 is one of my favorite X-Men books. It's probably in the top 3. I love it.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that they've decided to go in the opposite direction. I get it because Marvel wants to make money and X-Men's a big money maker, but it's going to lead to fatigue for so many people like me.
Well, I think it's led to fatigue. I think people are fatigued already. I know you're fatigued, and I'm getting there because I just realized that Reign of X is going to be 12 trades, and I said that this would be the year that I would stop buying trades except for things that I already had in trade so I could continue it. I got to buy 7 more of these things that forgot to $18 a piece. And it hasn't gotten any better. It's Excalibur, Sword, King in Black, Marauders. Okay, King in Black. There's another gripe. Wolverine, Excalibur, X Factor, Cable, Children of the Atom. Children of the Atom's another new title.
I'm just gonna Wikipedia or Google Excalibur because I'm not gonna buy it.
I think. Oh, also though, let me say that a book I want to read is The Way of X by Cy Spurrier.
That was something I do want to read because I do love Cy Spurrier and I want to support him because I feel so bad for what happened with Hellblazer.
Well, we like his writing too.
Well, that too. I just feel like he deserves a really good book. He's that good, and I feel like he doesn't have the mainstream recognition that he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to. I want to make sure I support him going forward. He's so good. I think he has a new Image title, by the way. It's called like Step by Bloody Step, I think.
Oh, I just saw
he has a new
something about that.
He has a new Vault comic too. It's like a Western, I think, a supernatural Western.
Ooh,
that sounds like a Jet Spragg book.
Oh, yeah.
So Cy Spurrier. I think it's Nightwing's a major part of Way of X, right? I think remember him. He's in the team in that book.
Nightwing? Do we have a crossover?
Nightcrawler.
Is Nightwing in it too?
Nightcrawler. Sorry.
Oh, in which part?
In Way of X, isn't Nightcrawler a big part of that?
I don't know anything about it. I just know that when it gets collected, I want to get it.
And Mr. Tech says, "Don't get Children of the Atom. It's horrible."
And and there's also Demon Days. I know.
Did you read the Wolverine by Benjamin Percy?
I've enjoyed that, yeah, but I don't think you have to get it.
But I do love Wolverine. He's a character I do like to buy, but is it really connected to the other books?
Let me see. I did this so long ago. It's okay, wait. I don't want to spend too much time on it here. It's well written. He's in everything, so you can read it. You don't have to read it you don't have to read it for X of Swords. You can read it for enjoyment, but I don't know. It's pretty. I wouldn't. That's not a book that I am gonna get. As much as I love Wolverine, I felt it was fun, but it's also not connected enough to X of Swords for you to want to get it. That's not a must get.
Sorry to backtrack, but who is the team on Hellions? Just out of curiosity. Do you remember it all?
Mr. Sassy Mr. Sinister, who's the best he's ever been written. Psylocke, Grey Crow, Wild Child. These are all the X-Men, the crazy ones, and Psylocke and Mr. Sinister are in charge of them. Well, Psylocke's in charge of them. Grey Crow, Wild Child, Empath, Nanny, Orphan Maker, and Havoc. They're the new mutant team you're going to hate to love, though right now the Hellions can barely keep from killing one another. Of course, that might be just what Mr. Sinister is counting on when he sends them to clean up his messes. Mr. Sinister, it's throughout the book now, and even in X of Swords, is the best he's ever been written, ever. He is sassy Mr. Sinister, and the whole book is written. I'm going to upgrade to when it comes out in hardcover.
Who wrote Hellions? I can't see on the
Zeb Wells.
Okay.
But first, the artwork is stellar throughout all of these runs, I will say, because I imagine they'd only put their best artists on important books like X-Book. So that's a given on all these X-Men titles. But this writing in particular is funny, considering how dark the story gets. It's still really snappy and funny. And it's a lot of team arguing, but it's funny and snappily. It's very it's got really snappy dialogue between all the characters. It's not just, you take that back, you jerk. Oh yeah, well, you've got my lunch money. It's super.
Wow, you should be a writer, Jess.
See, I tell you what not to write. But it's really great dialogue that is just a blast to read. That it's totally fun and funny and action packed with great characterization, further character development for some of these guys, especially Mr. Sinister, who is hilarious in this, low key hilarious. He's not putting on a clown nose and stuff, but he is just. And he's up to something, but you're going to have a hard time figuring it out because it doesn't necessarily happen in this book. It may happen in X of Swords, and he is just very well written throughout the whole thing. And this book is just something fun, like Strange Academy's fun. It's got great dialogue with great art, and it's a book I really look forward to getting in hardcover because this is a book that is definitely going into the permanent collection.
And so you've read all of Dawn of X, but you're not doing Reign of X. Is that correct? I can't remember if you drew that line in the sand or not.
I wish.
But didn't you say you're going to quit after a certain point? I thought you said something like that. Maybe I'm misinterpreting.
I see. I said I was going to quit all trades at the beginning of the year, but continue things that I had kept collecting, like Captain Marvel and Black Widow and Black Cat. Those are some trades that I started last year that I'll go to the end. And Reign of X was one of them. And that's when I realized that it was 12 volumes. I have volume 7. Is this volume 7? No, I have volume 7. So I think it's out in the stack of books a day.
So you're basically buying one a month, basically.
I am. I absolutely am. And that's, it's going to go on for 12 of these things. If afterwards comes a dishwasher of X or whatever, forget it.
I'm pretty sure they've already announced what the next thing is?
Wherever it's going, braggadocio is not following, because I am not going to keep buying 14 trades of all these 95 X-Men titles.
And Hickman has nothing to do with it either.
Right. They've already bailed on his vision, and So who's going to even be writing these? I will say one thing that was good that got canceled really quickly was X Factor by Leah Williams. I liked X Factor.
I think Kieran Gillen's coming to do a lot of X-Men stuff, or to do an X-Men title.
Oh, okay.
We like him, but I don't know.
But I also think X Factor by Leah Williams is a trade. I don't think it's going to get upgraded. I also enjoyed that a lot. I have it up with my other, for some reason. Well, it's with all my female X-Men led books, and it should be down with all my other books.
Destiny of X starts in February. That's the new thing.
Okay, no. The answer is no. No.
The thing about this era of X-Men is that's very different than anything Hickman's done before, because he's usually like he's very particular. He's like an auteur. He likes to have a lot of control. All of his stuff's very contained. Like I just read Secret Warriors, his Fantastic Four run, his Avengers stuff, Secret Wars. This is the first time he's really collaborating with a lot of people and kind of sharing this vision with a lot of people, which is fine, but it makes it harder to read as someone who just wants his stuff. I just want Hickman's version of this. That's all I really want, to be honest. And I'll do Hellions because I trust your opinion. But for everything else, it's just I just want Jonathan Hickman's take on this.
Yeah. So it's just there's the reason I'm sick of them is because there's too many of them to choose from. This is out of control. It was supposed to be a clean slate with something interesting to follow. You can't tell me you've needed 20 new X books to tell that story. I just don't buy it. I think this whole thing could have been handled much differently. I was willing to go along with it for Dawn of X. I foolishly went along with it with the Reign of X. But as far as, what is it, Destiny of X? No. No.
And I agree with this. They'd be better if they weren't so heavily connected. If they're like doing their own things, that'd be fine. But you kind of have to read a lot of them to fully understand the full story. That's what bugs me.
Right. I'm trying to get you to X of Swords with buying the least amount or reading the least amount. I don't know that Hellions and X-Men by Hickman is going to do it. There are some other gaps I'll probably have to fill, or you can Wikipedia them. But yeah, they are all interconnected to this X of Swords drama, and I guess Reign of X spins out of what happened in X of Swords, but
negativity sells, apparently.
Here's actually one I wanted to answer. Dean, hey Dean, Dean's my bud. Jess, did you read the very first two X-Men Omni Stan Lee ones? And if you read, did you enjoy? I am extremely familiar with the first X-Men Omnibus. I read it and happily sold it for the going rate, which was ridiculous for what it was. It's not good. The first X-Men Omni that's getting reprinted and coming out now has been a whale for people since it first went out of print in 2012 or whenever. I know people are going to want to jump on it and get it because they need it. I'm just warning you, it's very boring. The art is, of course, Jack Kirby, so it's great. The second Omni, when Roy Thomas and Neil Adams get together, that's when X-Men gets really good. And of course, you can take a break after that and then just go to Uncanny X-Men by Claremont, which actually I think is what it is. I think after I don't have my X-Men lined up properly. I've got too much X-Force in there for some reason. I feel like I'm not enough of an X-Men expert to say. I'll just cover the question. Number 2 is the book you want to get. That's got really good stories and great artwork. You can get it for the number 1 for the Jack Kirby artwork, but boring.
From what I understand, the best early Stan Lee stuff is Spider-Man, Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four, and the worst is Thor and X-Men.
Thor and X-Men. I would throw in Strange, Doctor Strange, as being interesting that he wrote, but no, it's not like Silver Surfer great. What did you say were the? Oh yeah, Thor. I sold Thor 1 and 2 gladly because I remember when I was a kid, I was confused by Thor. Verily, thine mortals bringeth me thine candle of fire, so that Lady Jane and I may sup in quiet splendor. I'm like, what the hell's going on in this comic? And it's impenetrable. This is just my opinion. I know people out there could love it, and I say peace and love unto you. Get it and enjoy it. But for me, Thor number 1 and Thor number 2 was not much better. It was impenetrable, and I look at Loki and I look at Vulture as these two old man. Although Loki's a god, but he's all old and wrinkled. And then Vulture, I don't know how old Vulture's supposed to be in Spider-Man, but based on how I look at 62 and the way Vulture looks, I'm thinking Vulture's 85, and I don't see, even in comic books with a radioactive spider-bitten guy, I can't see an 85-year-old guy going up there in his Vulture costume to commit, it's always bank robberies, so... I
thought he was interesting. He was interesting in Spider-Man Noir. It is finished. The Vulture. He is like a carnival freak who eats people.
Oh, cool!
He has like sharp teeth and stuff.
So, what noirs have you finished?
I finished Punisher Noir and Spider-Man Noir. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything because I know.
Okay, I appreciate that. You've got Iron Man and Daredevil, and
I have and X-Men and Wolverine Noir. There's four. I think there's 4 of them that we both want to read.
Okay.
But I did like that they cast Michael Keaton as the Vulture. He was a good Vulture.
He's also Vulture.
He's not 85 years old in that, though.
No, he's a dad in it. Okay, a dad, but not a great grandfather.
Spoiler for Homecoming.
Oh, sorry, people who haven't seen Homecoming.
If you haven't seen Homecoming by now, whatever. Get out of here.
So let's see. I think Judge read a strongly worded letter to the editor of X-Men. Looking forward to that one.
Well, speaking of the X-Men in general, Jess, how much of X-Men history do you think you actually have on your shelves? Like, how much of the X-Men universe do you think you own? Like, do you own like a big majority of it, or?
At one point, I owned 100% of the hardcovers.
Wow.
And I would say I owned of X-Men, I owned a good 75% of the trades.
So you had almost all of it.
I did. Yeah. The trades are a little slipperier to get because I'm talking about like little thin trades like Psylocke and Rogue, stuff like that, some of the tie-ins. But yeah, I at one point, I just wanted to vote myself to X-Men and really, really read it all. And it occurred to me that I just don't have the time to read it all. And then I already sold all my 90s X-Men. That was a time when I actually did read X-Men, and I just looked at the stories, and they weren't stories that interested me. So that part of my collection's completely gone, the 90s section. I kept X-Men by Jim Lee and Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. I kept Inferno because it's got magic in it, and I love magic. And then I kept Age of Apocalypse, and that takes us all the way to New X-Men. There's a gap right there between Age of Apocalypse and New X-Men. Because I know there was a couple things in there. Yeah.
And what led you to like what led you to make those cuts, or how did you make those cuts that you had to make?
I feel like when we probably talked about it at least twice, and I think you have sort of felt the same way that I feel like I want to curate my collection down to, and this is from talking to Joachim Comic Center. It's not enough to have a collection you like. You need to have a collection you love. And there was a lot of stuff that I not only didn't like, but I was just getting it for the sake of having a complete collection. So I'm starting to look at my collection. I have been since last summer. What do I love? What do I really, really love? And what will I reread? Or what am I really looking forward to reading? Like, I still haven't read Alias, but I'm not. I want to badly. I feel like that should be a book I read in the Make Mine Marvel month of January, like it is.
That window's closing though.
Yeah, it is. Quickly.
I mean, we're still going to read Marvel going forward, but not in this like really focused way.
Yeah, we've been reading nothing but Marvel for the whole month of January.
And that'll be our next video, Make Mine Marvel month. We're going to recap all the things that we read. We're going to have Rick Nelson join us and talk about the best, the good, the bad, and the ugly of what we read.
I've been pretty lucky that I've read a lot of good stuff so far. I feel like I did read something bad. Did I tell you that I read something bad? I don't know.
Oh, you did tell me about one that you hated.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it'll have to wait till the show.
I know, yeah, because you bought it when you were in Pittsburgh. I do remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I feel responsible because I handed it to you and said, hey, you like this character. Why don't you get it?
Well,
and just so you know, guys, if you're on a hunting spree with Jess and you say, hey, this book was interesting, he's going to buy it. It's not going to be like, let me think about it some more, maybe buy it later. It's going to be, oh, okay.
I was right. You're right. It looks good. It had a majorly interesting character that more needs to be told about. And it was a Max series, so you knew it was going to be violent and possibly sexy and filled with the F word. And you will get my report on it next month. But I only gave it 1 star on Goodreads because I couldn't give it 0. I can't.
And Jess and I are trying to be careful with our 5 stars.
Yes.
Because Jess handed out 5 stars to anybody last year.
You got like candy.
And so we're trying to be very selective because 4 stars is actually a really great book. I consider that great. I consider 1 horrible. Like, it's horrible. 2 is just bad or maybe just very mediocre. 3 is good. 3 is not a bad score. I think 3 is good.
Okay, so
4
it's not average. 3 is a good book.
I think 4 is great. 5 is like perfect, amazing, awesome.
Life-changing.
That's why I don't like the star rating. I like doing like A's or out of 10 because there's a lot more. I hate the 5 star. I wish you could do half stars, to be honest.
Exactly.
That's what annoys me about Goodreads. I wish I would do a lot of half stars, like 3.5, 4.5.
Yeah.
I get annoyed that it's so limiting. But that's why I make that scale of horrible, very mediocre, good, great, awesome.
Well, I think, and I'm still.
Near mint condition is here. You gonna defend your precious X-Men?
And so that's why I hate X-Men, and everybody that likes X-Men is dumb and just following the masses at Marvel. They're Marvel fanboy. They just don't have any mind of their own. That's the state of the X-Men reader nowadays.
Jess, what would you say to someone who's an X-Men completist?
I'm sorry?
What would you say to someone who's an X-Men completist? How would you describe them?
An X-Men completist? Fanatic in not a good way.
Okay. I'm not sure who that relates to in this chat, but probably somebody.
Gerard, don't worry. I only gave it 1 star because I couldn't give it no stars.
Same with the Downriver people.
Right. X Factor by Leah Williams. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong book. I'll take a look at it again, Roberto. Although it's possible I liked it and you didn't, and I felt like I liked it, but it's possible we like different things. So I'm okay with losing cred with you because peace and love. Everything is beautiful.
Don't worry, you're not losing it. You're losing it.
Right.
Losing it's not as bad as losing cred.
Now, this is off topic, but I did follow up on my Harley Quinn New 52 read. I would much rather hear about that than near mint condition yelling at us.
Yeah, I think by far obviously the X-Men is the most impenetrable in terms of Marvel. Spider-Man is probably the second. That's really hard at times to get into. There's so much history, so many starting points.
That's what I'm going to read once I finish Daredevil for Make Mine Marvel. I'm just going to read Superior Spider-Man. I know everything that leads up to it. I
read that too this month. I read that as well this month. I reread it.
Just Superior?
Spider-Man. Yeah, because I read that like 5 years ago, and I have all the hardcovers, so I reread that.
Okay. That's what I have, the hardcovers. There's 3, right?
Yeah. I need to reread Superior Foes of Spider-Man too.
Oh, that's a good book.
That's an awesome book. With the head of Silvermane on the remote control car.
I feel like I just got an action figure that he was holding a little remote control car too, but it wasn't Marvel. Was it DC? I'll have to go look. Justice Street cred is very loose. Yeah. Sasmurf thought X Factor by Williams was pretty decent.
Speaking of figures, Jess, I'm very excited about the Batman of Zor-En-Arr that we both pre-ordered yesterday.
Whoa!
But we're both a little bit annoyed that there's no Batmite to go along with it.
I would love what outfit do you want Batmite in? Just his black and blue?
Just what I can't remember exactly what he looked like in the Grant Morrison RIP, but whatever that was.
Oh, somebody asked us earlier about Morrison Batman.
I think X-Men. I think he asked about X-Men.
Oh, I thought he said Morrison Batman.
Well,
Morrison
we'll talk about
X-Men we love. Actually, we love Morrison Batman too, but
I love both of them. I mean,
I do too.
I think I like his X-Men run better if I had to pick one that was superior to me. The only problem, as I've mentioned many times, is the art is inconsistent. But the storyline throughout is great. I really do enjoy his Batman. There's ebbs and there's different low points and high points, but it's all at least good. It's good to fantastic. The sticking point for a lot of people is RIP. I like RIP more than most people do.
I like it too.
The only thing that's annoying about that era for me is at the end of RIP, it seems like that's how Bruce Wayne dies, but it's actually in Final Crisis, which is really confusing.
Right.
That's the part that's annoying to me. Other than that, I enjoy RIP.
Oh, this is unfortunate. Didn't like Harley Quinn. Oh, Mr. Tex, I'm so sorry. I'm bummed. That's the book that got me into Harley Quinn. Well, that is just more proof that everybody's different. We all like different things, and we all can't be pleased by the same thing sometimes. I'm sorry, Mr. Tex.
I didn't know Peter David was known for humor.
I didn't either.
It's Drek, it's Dross, it's no good, it bugged him. There you go.
Do you really want my opinion, King of Goldfish? Yeah, Taylor just gave it to you. Say it again, Taylor.
It's Drek, it's Dross, it's no good, it bugged Jess.
That was my original tagline for what book?
Bramble. By
Bramble. It got root beard.
That's like one of your first videos, I think.
I think you're right. I feel like it was the second thing I root beard after Kevin Smith's Batman.
I remember replaying it a couple times because it had a certain flow, a certain cadence to it that I wanted to memorize it. I thought it was funny.
I don't know if this is a joke question or if you really want to know, because I feel like I've said before that this is one of the worst books I've ever read. I used to think that Henry Abrams was like a 12-year-old kid and it was his first try. And then I find out he's like a 25-year-old grown man floating on the coattails of his father. Obviously, this was awful. It made no sense. Sarah Pacelli mailed in her art because she is capable of much better. So I can only imagine, I can't imagine why she would illustrate this book other than they must have backed up the truck full of money for her. But this is one of the worst, if it's not the worst Spider-Man book ever read, it's certainly, wait,
Sins Past?
it's one of the worst books ever read.
It's not is as bad as Sins Past for you.
Oh no, Sins Past is going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
I loved how Warren Ellis made fun of Sins Past in Thunderbolts.
That was
did that still make you mad though when you read it?
It brought it back. Yeah, it gives me flashbacks. Yeah, I have PTSD, comics PTSD. I don't want to minimize it for people who actually suffer from that, but it will haunt me for the rest of my life. And the fact that they retconned it out of existence doesn't take away the fact that I still read that and it's still burning in on my brain.
If those of you don't understand what Jess is saying, I'm just going to summarize it in 2 words: goblin babies. That's all you need to know.
And don't ever read
but it. Read Thunderbolts by Warren Ellis. That was one of our favorite reads of last year.
Yes.
Especially that second arc. That was awesome. Fantastic. I love whenever Norman Osborn interacts with some of his goons and he walks away and they say, I'm going to need therapy for the rest of my life after this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I guess there was no reason for us to ever bring it up because it was so bad. And we try to talk about things we love, like Tom Taylor Spider-Man or Chip Zdarsky Spider-Man. So that's why we, you probably haven't heard us mention it because we try, as much as we write sucktastic clickbaity thumbnails, we try to keep it positive, but sometimes even I break, and that story broke me. I read it digitally, and I couldn't pour root beer on my iPad, but
you could, but you didn't want to.
Yeah, I felt like smashing my iPad.
Well, I think you can find at least something redeemable in most books, but there's some it's just a turd all the way through, and there's no way you can polish it enough to make it even presentable. There's just some books, there's nothing redeemable about it.
And I think that's what disappointed us, which was part of the disappointment with Downriver People, is it seemed interesting at first, and then it took a hard turn into the oblivion of not caring.
That's up there with Scott Snyder's The Wake as one of the dumbest endings I've ever read in a comic book or inexperienced in a film, TV show, video game. It was dumb.
But I will say, I pretty much ended up hating Downriver People all the way through, whereas I liked issues 1 through 9 or whatever the first 9 issues were of The Wake. I
sold it.
Yeah, I was really excited. I read it in floppies. I never bought it in hardcover. I read it in floppies, and I just went up to Steve at the counter the next week at Third Eye. I said, "What happened? What went on in this?" And he goes, I don't know. he's the one that got me started on it. He's like, I don't know, man. I just don't know.
There's just some things that the ending is so bad, it retroactively ruins the rest of the experience for you. Like that happened with me with How I Met Your Mother. Horrible ending because the whole show is building up to that. And the answer was so dumb.
Just read about that.
Same with Game of Thrones, same with Rise of Skywalker. The ending was just so like I'm never gonna go back and rewatch the sequel series, I don't think, because the ending was so bad to me. Same with Game of Thrones, same with How I Met Your Mother. There's some things where the ending can be okay, that was disappointing, but it wasn't so bad that it tainted the whole experience for me. But there's some where it really just betrays you as an audience member who participated in it. And it's really frustrating. That's how I felt about The Wake. I really enjoyed it. Same with Downriver People. It was really good in the beginning, and then did something so stupid it ruined the rest of the story for me, and I just can never enjoy it.
And the three of us, we got Kristen involved, and we all read it on like that Sunday, and we were all just flipped out. What the heck's going on here? What did we do to ourselves? Where do we go to get our time back?
I felt bad about that one too, because I also recommended it to you because I read the description on Hoopla and said, this sounds like a Jess Bragg book. And then you said, oh, this sounds like a Kristen book. And the three of us, the Venn diagram of the three of us, there's not many books that overlap for all three of us. We thought this would be like one of the only ones. And it did in a way that we all hated it equally. So in a way, we did get brought together by our hatred.
Yeah.
So it did help in some way, I guess.
Yeah, it helped us form bonds with the three of us. That's right. You were patient zero on that book.
Yeah. So, and with the other one that you're going to talk about in Make Mine Marvel Month.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That we don't want to talk about right now.
But you described my shopping as so spot on perfect. I thought it was hilarious.
I could have just picked a book that I thought looked terrible and been like, oh, this looks good. And you've been like, okay, add it to the list.
All things considered, I feel like I came up with a lot of good books.
You did.
It just so happens that one of the first ones I read was that horrible book.
You know what you should read for Make Mine Marvel Month? The book that you were most excited for that you got in Pittsburgh.
Oh, good point.
That's a very short book. So you should read that
Okay.
so you can tell us if it was worth the purchase.
Yes. Okay, good. All right. Very good. I will do that. Let's see. I haven't been going to the chat much. Dean asks, by the way, where will you start your Daredevil read through, Jess? Where are you now? I'm on the Wade part. I just read the first two hardcovers. The first one ended up being signed by him. I took it to Baltimore in 2018 or 19, probably whenever it first came out. I took it there and had him sign it. So I'm going to read all of Daredevil by Wade, and I skipped Shadowland. I don't feel like I missed anything. I will go back and read Shadowland. You know what? Maybe I'll just sell that.
All you missed, remember when he was fighting Captain America in that second or third issue?
Yeah.
That's the only reference to Shadowland in the entire run.
Okay, I'm selling.
That I can remember. Maybe there's like one or two other references that were very minor. That was the only one where you might feel like you missed something. But even that, they somewhat explained it. Why they were mad at each other.
Right. Okay, I'm selling it. Good. You talked me into it. Thanks for the answer on Morrison's Batman and X-Men. As for Batman, I thought Batman part was great. Batman and Robin was good, and Batman Inc. was also great. Oh boy, here's a that's a good question. I wonder if that's where they got the idea to cast Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
Remember we were talking, what did we say? You're like, maybe I said maybe they'll hire an even hotter Aunt May for the next reboot. You said, is that even possible? But I sent you a picture of Ana de Armas from Knives Out and Blade Runner, and you're like, oh, okay. That's definitely a possibility. That could definitely work. But it's funny when you go from the original Spider-Man movie, where she's like in her 80s or something, then you go to Sally Fields, then you go to Marissa Tomei.
Yeah,
so it's like a constant younger.
Right. I feel like they hit it right with Marissa Tomei, and that's the age that sounds right.
It was never believable that his aunt was that old.
Well, until I saw Marissa Tomei, it made me realize that. I don't know. I was late to the party, so I had aunts and uncles that were really old when I first showed up, but not by the time I was a teenage science nerd and I got bit by that spider. So
the only believable explanation is that Peter's dad was much older than his mother. That'd be the only explanation, right? Unless maybe him and his brother have a huge gap in their ages, but it seems somewhat strange. Like, she was like 75 in the first Spider-Man. But it's funny, as you go throughout Spider-Man history, May gets younger and younger.
Yeah.
Not older, which is kind of funny.
Right.
Like when she marries J. Jonah Jameson's dad, she looks like she's like in her 60s or something.
Yeah, we renamed the worst book on the Omnibus Live to the Golden Abrams. It was the Golden Kirkman. And yeah, I have talked a lot about Bloodlines. That's primarily where I've talked about it, is because we all reviewed it at once, like 5 of us, and we're unanimously in hate with it.
Dean Winchester has a good tidbit about your Shadowland omnibus.
Shadowlands omnibus is Yay! Thank you, buddy. Let's go up to the vault now and take down this golden book that's still sealed. Well, thank you, Dean. You just made my night. Now I can have some money to spend. Oh, I mean save, sweetie.
Yeah, Patty's watching an hour and 10 minutes in. I'm very surprised. I'm just wondering with the current era of X-Men, how long is it going to be until we see the Death of Krakoa event? Like, there's going to be something, right? I bet it'll even be called that. Death of Krakoa. Because the Krakoa element can't last forever. See, I wonder how long this era of X-Men is going to last. Maybe 2 or 3 more years, you think?
I don't know what the end game could be for it. I'm interested in what the status is after X of Swords, so I guess I'm going to need to start reading Reign of X to see.
It's going to be like Geonosia 2.0.
Yeah, I feel like it's brand new and just getting started, but I also like the idea, and actually that's what I liked. I liked the idea of it, and the first books that all came out, I thought, especially Marauders, I thought was an interesting take because Kitty couldn't go through portals and they needed somebody to check on the black market. And I thought it was funny and fun to have her as the captain of the ship of the Marauders. I got it in hardcover because I did like it enough. Actually, I don't even know if it's the whole run. It's probably 1 through 3 now from hearing what you're saying. But that's, I mean, I did. That's why I didn't mind that they were taking the chances and that they cut their losses on some books that weren't as good as the others. But then in later volumes of Dawn of X, you're getting brand new #1s of new characters or new character books. I'm like, when's this going to end? I don't know when it's going to end.
Marcelo says the end of Krakoa is supposed to be the ending of the Hickman wanted, he thinks, and Marvel didn't want to do it, so he left.
Oh, he wanted Krakoa to end?
That's what Marcelo thinks happened.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know that Krakoa has been around since Giant Size X-Men #1. I meant the current manifestation of Krakoa as like a nation for X-Men. That's not going to last forever, obviously. So I'm just wondering how long it's going to be until this era of X-Men ends. And I think that Roberto's probably right. Once they start making the X-Men movie, they're going to have it be another wipe slate clean and starting with the characters that are going to be in the movie, probably. That's not a bad prediction.
Jesse said Sins Past broke you. Did you ever read the second JMS Omni? That contains the One More Day arc that broke SSD and pushed him off Spidey. Lloyd, I'm afraid to read the second Omni. I mean, I have all the books. Maybe it doesn't that happen at the end?
That's the last arc, I think, of JMS.
Okay, I'm going to skip that then. I'll read. I have them all in hardcovers, so I'll just skip that whenever it happens. Whenever I run into it. I don't even know if I have it collected. Is it in the Best of Spider-Man JMS or Back in Black? What? I don't even know where it occurs. The other? I haven't read past the hideous ending of Since Past.
Well, this is probably the first time Hickman's never been able to carry out the storyline that he really wanted to. I feel like he always kind of gets free reign to do whatever he wants. This is probably the first time he's ever not gotten his way on a book like this.
He can't be surprised that it happened to him at Marvel, really?
Well, no, I'm not surprised. I'm just saying, when you look at his Marvel work, he really got to do whatever he wanted with those books. Which I'm just saying, it's the first time it's ever really happened to him in his career, it seems like. He seems to always get, or he walks away from a book and doesn't finish it with his Image stuff.
Uh-oh. I thought Sins of Our Fathers by Nick Spencer, the retcon was worse than Sins Past. It is ridiculously hard to follow and is kind of embarrassing as a comic book reader.
SSD loves it.
I
know Tyler loved it.
The retcon or the whole series?
I just know he loved the retcon. That's what he said. He enjoyed the ending part of Spencer's run.
Oh, this is a different Thunderbolts that we're talking about. Except that that's the Kurt Busiek Thunderbolts, we were talking about a trade paperback that is Warren Ellis's Thunderbolts. But Kurt Busiek's a great writer, and I haven't read it yet, but I've heard really, really good things about Thunderbolts by Kurt Busiek. I've heard good things about almost every arc of Thunderbolts, as a matter of fact. That is something I should really leap into because I have a ton of it. And the Warren Ellis stuff was the first stuff I had read and loved. You're right. We both loved it last year. But this Omni by Kurt Busiek is supposed to be great. And I think it just gets even better from what Riley says. He's a big fan of Thunderbolts.
Kurt Busiek's always good, it seems like.
Right. He's somebody that I would buy without hesitation.
I'm glad that Image is starting to reprint his Astro City stuff,
and that he's got Aerosmith to start up again. That's a book you should read.
I want to hold off on them doing hardcovers for Astro City, though. I don't want to get the new trades they're putting out because I do want to collect it, but they're probably gonna do hardcovers at some point, right?
I don't know.
Ugh.
But you haven't read the first Aerosmith, have you?
I haven't read Astro City or Aerosmith. No.
Well, okay. You like Last God, so you like fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic story where in World War I, the soldiers go over and from the U.S., but there's magic involved. They get to the front lines and there's dragons that breathe fire that soldiers are riding in on, and there's all kinds of other magic that happens in fantasy, and it's just super well written. It is such a fun. I think it's kind of an underrated or maybe forgotten title of his, because it might have been an early book at Image. I'm not sure who the publisher was on that now. Aerosmith. It was called all the fine men, all the young men in their fine uniforms. Was it
like Wildstorm or Vertigo?
Wildstorm, maybe. I mean, I have it right here.
Because Astro City was basically published by everybody at some point.
Yeah. But and then of course Astro City's great. But if they bring Aerosmith may be out of print, that first trade, I don't know. But if they're reprinting it and putting a new series together, I highly recommend it.
You're just never guaranteed hardcovers from Image because it really does depend on the creators and their desire to trust in themselves and back themselves.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell Mr. Awesome about Magic Order. That's a book that both Taylor and I liked, by Millar. And I get everything you're saying, but give Magic Order a try. It's really good.
And Superman Red Sun.
Yeah.
His Wolverine Omnibus is awesome. I actually might reread that for my Marvel month. I haven't read that in probably 5 or 6 years. I really enjoy his, I know it's controversial, but I did like his Authority stuff after Ellis. I think what else? I think that's basically it. Oh, Ultimates also.
Oh yeah, Ultimates is really good.
That's getting an Omni reprint this year, so that might be a good one to pick up.
Yeah, and give Magic Order the trades. There's a new series that's coming out, but Magic Order, especially if you can find a copy that doesn't say now a Netflix series on it.
And there's a second arc coming out. I think Stuart Immonen's the artist on that, and that's a good. I mean, I love Olivier Coipel, but
yeah,
I mean, Stuart Immonen is one of my favorite artists. Jess does love Nemesis by Mark Millar.
Be quiet. Stop that.
Yeah, IQ says Magic Order Volume 2 is out in May.
May. Okay, good.
We never get. I should probably buy those trades because we don't get any Miller hardcovers in Image. Really, doesn't seem like it. At least
That's a good point.
Jupiter's Legacy and Circle never got any hardcovers.
And those were his big famous books there.
Right.
Yeah, we should probably talk. Didn't we just talk about this? I feel like we talked about it at the beginning.
We mentioned it in passing. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I'm not too excited about this, but again, I don't want to judge a series before I read it. But it just sounds eerily familiar to the 52 era of DC. What was that? 12, 13 years ago, maybe longer, 15 years ago?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it feels like 15 years ago now.
It just sounds very familiar. And again, like I said, as comic readers, if you read long enough, you're going to see things recycled over and over and over again. I'm just not that excited about this idea, but I love Joshua Williamson. He's usually a really solid writer. So, but Jess and I said there has to be something has to give with our future comic purchases. We can't keep buying everything. I can't just buy a book because it has Batman in it. I have to be more selective. So is this an era that I'm going to be excited about? I'll have to see what happens and hear what people think about it first. Or read it digitally first and see if I want to buy into it.
Yeah, you and I are both on a mission to keep each other's spending habits down to stuff we are really excited about. Not just it sounds good. It really is exciting to us. I have all the Spider-Man JMC. And One More Day was not collected there. Okay, the only time it got the oversized treatment was JMS Volume 2. Good riddance. Okay, good. I don't have to read it then. I didn't think it was included in there. Nick Lewis says, apparently Hickman wanted to have 3 acts in his X-Men run, but then all the other writers came in and didn't want to Act 1 to end. So that's when he decided to leave. So he had 3 acts he wanted, and he only got to do 1.
I think Inferno is like his newer ending to his time on X-Men, though. I don't think it's the original ending as people are talking about. I think it's just an ending that he decided to go with. All I know is that Inferno is the ending, and I'll buy that because it's part of his run.
Right. I loved, Marcelo and I have similar tastes in a lot of books. I love the Busiek Thunderbolts Omnibus, one of the best things I read last year. He has good taste, so pay attention. That's a strong statement from Marcelo. Asif asks, what Jeff Johns run should I read next? The Flash or Justice League?
I say Justice League.
And I say Justice League.
I like his Flash, though. It is really good. I think the first like 10 or so issues are fine. They're not great. They're not going to knock you out of your socks. But once you get to the Professor Zoom stuff, that's really good. But I think Justice League is awesome all the way throughout.
Yeah,
especially the ending of Darkseid War. Is the highlight.
I think I'm on record as saying that's my favorite Justice League ever, and it's one of my favorite New 52 titles. Is that Justice League run? It is really, really good.
I think my favorite Justice League stuff isn't technically a Justice League book, but kind of is the World's Greatest Superheroes by Dini and Alex Ross. I love that. That's a book I would recommend for newer DC fans who want to understand these characters, because they actually give you like rosters of the Justice League and who they are, what their powers are, and it gives you really good snapshots of what they're all about. I didn't reread that book, but I can't right now because Make Mine Marvel Month. But I will read it eventually again.
And that reminds me that my favorite Justice League book is really Justice, and then Justice League of America by Jeff Johns. Justice, it's time for me to pull that out and read in February when it's Read Whatever You Want month.
We definitely have to do more themed months. This has been pretty fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like Miller because of Civil War, but still buying Mark Millar Ultimate Omni reprints. That run is good. You are correct. Good point. Justice League Dark is very good. But I mean, yeah, that was one of my favorite New 52 runs. Also, and if it hadn't been for Make Mine Marvel Month, I'd already be reading that book. It came in 2 months later than everybody else got it. Reborn got a standard hardcover for Miller.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever gotten an oversized hardcover though from Image, which is interesting because I think that would sell really well. But he's a pretty popular writer, even though a lot of people don't seem to like him. But he has a huge deal at Netflix.
I also heard this was good too on an Omnibus recently.
I think Warren Ellis wrote parts of that too.
Oh, well, I heard Ultimate Fantastic Four is actually really, really good. So I might read that once I finish Ultimate Spider-Man, which I think is in this year that I'm going to try and.
I did read the first omnibus of Ultimate Spider-Man for Make Mine Marvel Month.
I'm sorry, you did what?
I did read that first omnibus of Ultimate Spider-Man for Make Mine Marvel Month.
Nice.
Just got that in. I'm really glad they're moving forward with those omnis. So, Jess, speaking of the X-Men, I already talked about one character that I'll buy everything for. Not buy everything for, but I'll buy a lot of, and that's Wolverine.
Wolverine, okay.
Everyone has like their favorite X-Men characters that they really gravitate towards. My favorite's Wolverine. I love Phantom X. I like Nightcrawler. I'm trying to think who else. I really like Magneto.
Okay.
He's one of my favorites. Who are like your favorite go-to X-Men? I know Magic is number one.
Yeah. Rogue has really moved up steadily in the charts because of the Mr. and Mrs. X books. And then I read a big Rogue collection about her earlier days. And then I also bought a really cool Rogue statue. So I really dig her power set. And I dig her. I love Emma Frost and the Stepford Cuckoos. Let's see. We already talked about Magic.
Does anyone ever say their favorite is Cyclops? I never hear anybody say Cyclops is their favorite.
It's only when you have one that lights up. That's the only time Cyclops is interesting. Let me turn him on here.
I do like Cyclops better with Emma Frost than Jean Grey.
I do too.
I said it. I think she's better for him.
I agree with that 100%.
I think they really balance each other out really well. I think Jean and Cyclops together is very vanilla and boring. Because they're both somewhat vanilla and boring characters in their own right. But when you rub them up against somebody else is more interesting. Like Wolverine and Cyclops together, they kind of cause sparks. It's really interesting. Same with Emma Frost and Cyclops together.
Yeah, here's with his eyes lit up. This is the only time Cyclops is interesting.
Did you like him in in Uncanny X-Men by Bendis?
Yeah, he was fine in that. I think that there's what was it, Uncanny and All New?
Yeah. I have to read that soon. I have all those hardcovers and never read them.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the few people that liked Bendis X-Men. I think a lot of people like to beat on it, but I liked it. Wait, what was your question? How did I like who? Cyclops? He was fine. You know, do you know the central conceit of the book about pulling? Do you know what the book's about?
I know, like, basically he's considered like a terrorist in that era of X-Men. Like he's not persona non grata. There's the Jean Grey Institute by Wolverine. I've read Wolverine in the X-Men Omnibus.
Okay.
And then there's Scott and Emma and Magneto doing their own thing over here.
And then there's Cyclops was right t-shirts and everything.
Yeah.
I think Bendis tried really hard to make him interesting, but I don't think you can make him interesting.
I think he's really interesting with Emma and them two together, like in Astonishing X-Men and New X-Men. I think that's the most interesting he's ever been. Did you ever read the Cyclops book by Greg Rucka?
No, but I have it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
I do wonder how that is because I do like Greg Rucka a lot.
you would think of all people he could make him interesting, or maybe
Right.
Mark Waid.
Yeah, that's true.
Mark Waid has a way with superheroes.
But yeah, someone says that you love the X-Ladies the most, and that's not inaccurate.
Correct.
That's true for most characters, though, not just X-Men.
That I like the lady characters.
Yeah, just look at your bombshells and other statues. There's not that many men represented in your statues.
None.
Don't you have like a Darth Vader statue of sorts?
I have a penny bank where you put a quarter in him or something, and he raises his saber and it lights up, and it's got James Earl Jones' voice in it, but that's more of a toy. I actually do have a John Constantine that is similar in size to these bombshells. So he's the only man statue I have. I have a lot of action figures that are men, but for statues, it's ladies only. I had to follow my heart there, folks. Ladies only. Sorry, not sorry.
You don't have to explain yourself to us. You only had to explain yourself to Patty.
Mr. Awesome loves Jean. Rosegray putting in for Cyclops only when he's shirtless. Does he still have, when he's shirtless, does he still have the hood over? Or no, I guess he's just with his hair and his... What's he got going on here? What are those earmuffs he's got? Oh, I guess they're to...
That's for his visor.
Yeah, it's his visor.
That's where he goes like this to shoot out the blast.
Right.
I really want them to do. Maybe they've already done this. I would love like a astonishing X-Men wave of Marvel Legends. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Or a new X-Men wave. That would be even cooler.
Well, you're pretty happy this year with the Spider-Man wave, right?
That's the only thing I'm excited about from Marvel Legends this year. is the Spider-Man and the Null and Venom figures that'll come out.
And that's classic Spider-Man you want, right? That's what you've wanted.
Didn't it say, isn't it Amazing Spider-Man 15? Or no, was it not Amazing Spider-Man 15?
I think it's from Spider-Man 1 type era.
Right. Like a Steve Ditko suit, basically.
Yeah,
right?
Isn't that what you wanted? Or did...
I'll take it. I'll see what it's like. I did kind of want like the retro Spider-Man that came out 2 years ago is what I wanted. Because that came out before I started collecting. So I would have loved that, but we'll see what it looks like. I'm excited though, because they haven't come out with like a classic Spider-Man since then, basically.
Yeah.
I really need that. Because Marvel Legends, once they go out of print and they're gone, they're just gone. Unless you're gonna want to pay really high prices on eBay.
I'm not into that.
That's one thing I like better about McFarlane's. They stick around a lot longer, and you have more time to pick them up.
Unless they're exclusives at Target, where Batman's chest piece lights up.
Which one's that?
I didn't send you that one?
I don't think so.
It was from Target, and Tyler and I both missed it. Nobody told us about it, and the pre-order is gone.
Exclusives suck. Like, come on, it's just dumb.
Speaking of things that suck,
go buy this at Walmart or Walgreens. I'll screw you. Come on, just give me the space. Why do they have to make it so hard to buy action figures? It's so annoying. I get really tired of how they do action figures. This website gets it now. BBTS gets it in 5 months. It doesn't make any sense how they get it.
And Hasbro Pulse gets at the very end for the people that buy from the place that makes them.
At least comics make sense for our collected editions. Stores and websites like IST get it a certain time, and then bookstores get it 2 weeks later, and Amazon gets it 2 weeks later. Figures, it's like, oh, you get it now, you get it next year. It doesn't make any sense how they do. It really is dumb.
Yeah. Kitty Pryde is my favorite X-Men, but I still haven't got to the Mutant Massacre in my read through. I have not read that, so I need to read that. I really liked her in Marauders. That's what made me a Kitty Pryde fan, so I need to find out more about her. I'm not going to get a statue of her because I'm not getting any more statues, but I could see myself getting some fancier version of a legend for her.
Could there be a statue that sways you?
No.
Nothing.
No. No, it'd be so obvious that
What about a
even
magic statue?
well, I'm getting a smaller magic statue that matches my Scarlet Witch from Iron Studios and Emma Frost.
What
They're
about a Batwoman statue?
sideshow Batwoman.
If that lures you, then yes. The most platonic ideal of a Batwoman statue is solicited.
Oh,
I knew I could find something that would get you to buy
it. I genuinely don't have room for big statues in here anymore.
If you get rid of Black Canary, though, you do.
What's that?
If you sell Black Canary, you do.
I know, and I can't find the damn box for her.
Is it impossible to sell a statue without having the box?
Yeah.
That
yeah,
sucks.
you've got to have all the styrofoam that she fit in and everything. Yeah. I know I have the box because I have boxes of every statue I bought.
We have to get a Batwoman action figure from McFarlane.
Yes.
I would buy that as soon as it goes up for pre-order. And I'd put it right next to my Batgirl.
Depending on the face sculpt.
But it wouldn't be. But she's covered in a mask, though, so the face sculpt doesn't matter as much.
I've got an old Batwoman figure that disagrees with you.
I thought the new Batgirl. Did you get it? Three Jokers Batgirl.
I did.
I think she looks really good.
She does.
But McFarlane's put out a lot of stinkers lately. They either do really good work or it's really mediocre sometimes.
You're talking Martian Manhunter and Aquaman?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I could talk about. The new Clayface looks like a turd. It does not look good.
What did you think about his Batman? The movie Batman?
I didn't like it. I know Tyler liked it. He did a review of it. He did a picture of it.
Yeah.
His hands are like a Lego. They're like this. You can't do anything. There's no hand swaps. You can't do anything with it. That's really annoying.
How about let's see. McFarlane. Okay, well, we both like the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh.
That is really cool. I love how it comes with a bat and a knife. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But no more guns from McFarlane, right? Is that what you said?
Apparently, I don't think that came from him because Red Hood's packing some heat.
And the what's he called?
Thomas Wayne?
What's the other one?
Or
the Batman
Grim Knight.
The Grim Knight also has guns.
Grim Knight's got 40 guns on him.
I love that figure.
I do too.
That's an awesome figure. I promised myself I wouldn't buy any more Batman because I have so many, but then I saw that Zur-En-Arrh Batman and I said, crap, I have to get
that. Marcelo agreeing. Cyclops is a jerk.
We still have to get that Jess is a jerk thing going. Tyler does.
Mutant Massacre was great. Okay, good. Aiku says, all new is bad, uncanny is nice. Reading Second Coming right now. Cyclops is just so bland in there too. Does he have eyes that light up? Oh yeah, it's a comic book, so he does.
Here's the real question, Jess. Was Cyclops' psychic affair actually an affair in New X-Men? What's your take? Yeah.
My opinion, yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
For wives who are watching, it wasn't a fair. Don't jam us up. That'd be something a wife would jam you up about. Was that an affair? Yes, honey, it was.
Have you ever had an affair like that? No, I don't know any psychics.
I'm not a mutant. Don't worry.
Yeah. But yeah, to the extent where they were willingly engaging in lust in their heart and whatever the definition of adultery is, I mean, they willingly went to this made up place and were living out their lives with each other. So
it felt real, it seemed like.
Well, I think it felt real. I know we're talking about comics. Yes, I'm aware they're not real, but I think it felt real to them too. It felt real to the readers, so they wanted us to think it was real. So it was absolutely an affair.
Oh, sorry. Rodimus Prime is reading the new X-Men Omnibus. He doesn't want us to spoil it for him.
Oh, sorry. Where is Rodimus Prime Rib? That's the greatest name.
We won't spoil the ending of that.
Oh, sorry. Jess, do you have the Diamond Select Catwoman statue? I do not.
Do you have a Catwoman statue?
I do. It's out in the main part of the Cave with poison ivy that I bought 5 years ago from a member of the Omnibus group. She was getting into photography.
Do you ever look at some of your toys and it seems like they move by themselves, like they're Toy Story toys? Like
Oh,
look at
you
them
mean
like,
action figures?
I just looked over at my Swamp Thing. He's totally moved the other direction, like he had turned around in the middle of the night, like this.
These things come alive at night.
That's
question.
creepy.
That's why they're on the floor. You come inside the door and they're on the floor.
That never makes sense to me. Why, after weeks and maybe even months, all of a sudden they fall over? That never makes sense to me.
They're alive, Taylor.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't have this statue, Mr. Tex. I probably don't have room for Diamond Selects either. Those can be nice statues. Charles, I have a lot of these Women of the DC busts. They're really cool. I have I know I have a really good Batwoman, Power Girl, Zatanna, Harley Quinn, Supergirl. I have all those DC Universe busts. No, I saw that one. Those are statues, not action figures.
We should stick like a dramatization of that night, like on like one of those true crime documentaries.
What's that now?
We should see like a dramatization.
Oh yeah,
of that, like a Netflix documentary
in the gray fuzzy camera with the reenactment.
Yeah,
that's so funny. To get that gray fuzzy camera, yeah,
that would be really funny. But you'd have to have Omar in there with you, which you're not going to do again.
Yeah, there's the problem.
Variant Rev is a good idea.
I saw that, but it's Make Mine Marvel January and December. So
December is not a bad idea. Where you just read DC books in December.
Okay, let's do December. But it's too late for Make Mine Marvel March.
So they Make Mine Marvel month for this month, even though it's January.
Well, that's a good one.
That's what I called it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's do December. Good job, Bavarian. I'll have my ideas guy write it down.
Sounds good.
That is great. Great.
Yeah, Jess, did you get that Nightwing by Tom Taylor hardcover yet?
I just got a shipping notice for it.
You couldn't wait though. You already read it digitally, right?
I did already read it digitally. Bitewing, I had to.
Did it live up to all the hype that we built up for you?
Unfortunately, I think it got too hyped. I really enjoyed it. I think I want to read it again. I wished I had read it along with everyone, with you. So I think it raised my expectations too high because I really liked it, but it's not going to be my book of the year or month even. I did enjoy it, and I want to read it again.
I'm out of here, everybody. See you later.
Here's the most important comment of the night. I did see that. Did you see the forthcoming DC League of Super Pets, The Great Mixie-Up with Mr. Mixie and Tales of the Super Pets? I didn't know about Tales of the Super Pets, but I did know about Mixie-Up. That is great news. They seem to be really committing to the Super Pets, which is amazing.
I am excited for that movie. I'm gonna take Sam to see that movie in theaters and see what he does.
I want to come see it with you guys
because he can basically watch. He watched all of Cars the other day. He's watched the Peanuts movie all the way through. He's watched a bunch of other movies all the way through. So I'm hoping he loves popcorn. So if we have a big thing of popcorn, I think he'll survive the whole movie in a theater.
What will he have to drink?
I'll sneak in an apple juice for him.
You don't want to pay $12 for their apple juice?
I don't know if they even have apple juice at a movie theater. I don't know. At our Cinemark, we can buy beer, but I'm not going to share a beer with my 2.5-year-old son.
Oh, what a buzzkill!
That'd be a news story for sure.
Minister shares beer with 2-year-old son.
I remember one time in high school, my friends and I saw a movie, and this one drunk guy was belligerent the entire time behind us, like yelling stuff out and stuff. And then we walked by at the end of the movie, and in his row, there's at least 16 beer cans just crushed on the floor, like he was having a good old time behind us.
Wait, Crazed Cassowary is asking me something that I have to go back for. Wait, okay, maybe I don't. I've heard some critiques that there's no real meat to that story. It's just a lot of fluff and fan service. Are we talking about Nightwing? Did you feel that way at all after reading it? I didn't feel it was fluff and fan service. I mean, he does adopt a dog and it's called Bitewing. I don't know how that's not awesome. It's, dogs make every hero better, I think. And so I don't
I think it takes the really interesting storylines. Were you confused at all about the issue of the money, the Bruce Wayne money situation that they talked about?
I knew, yeah. I just accepted it.
If you read the Tinian Batman run, it'll make more sense. So I thought it took that storyline and made it make not more sense, but it was an interesting direction that it takes. And I love the letter he gets from a certain character as well.
That was amazing.
That made me tear up. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I just think it took. I think it does have meat to that storyline. Also, it's just the first arc too. It's not like it's a mini series or a maxi series. We just read the first trade of an ongoing series. And I think it's had a lot of interesting storylines, a lot of great moments, heartfelt moments. And I've seen where this run's going to be going. Like they have one issue that's a continuous panel all the way through. Yeah. I can't wait to read that.
I can't wait to read that too.
I just think that Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo love this character, and they're doing him extremely well.
Yeah, I don't. My criticism of it is not that there's no red meat in it at all. I think my expectations were just jacked too high. I mean, yeah, Roberto's right. A three-legged dog named Bitewing. That's awesome that he finds on the street and bites him right away, which is how it would be. I really enjoyed it a lot. I love the story. I love the characters they have in it. They have great characters in it besides Dick or Rick or Richard or whoever he is or Grayson. I really enjoyed it a lot. I'm going to break open the hardcover as soon as I get it and reread it again, because I'm sure it's not going to get here till February 1st. And I can read DC again, but I highly recommend it. By no means is this a criticism of it. It deserves all the praise it gets. I think I got my expectations way too high. I need to read it again because I did tear up twice, and that's pretty good for a book that's imaginary, that you get choked up, especially in a comic book, because comic books don't, except for Crypto's death and spoiler alert, and whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Well, you also learned something really big about his family situation, so that there is a lot of meat to this story. So I don't really get that criticism. I don't really agree with that criticism at all.
Yeah, I agree with that then too. With the minister Cassowary.
I also love his relationship with Barbara in this book. I think she's fantastic, and having her be like Oracle again is really cool in this series. What was that one shirt she had on that was hilarious? Oh, I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I pull the book out and find it, but don't have it yet.
Oh, I did file it away. I finally did reorganize my DC shelf, so I don't want to pull it out right now. But I think Barbara's great in that as well.
I agree. Does Make Mine Marvel Month January have to be an Omni? Do you mean, it doesn't have to be an Omni for us to read it this month. I read all 5 of Rupaker's Caps, and I read all 6 of Captain Marvel's trade. So it just has to have the Marvel name on it.
I'm also reading some nonfiction books about Marvel. I read Slugfest, which is about DC versus Marvel. Just finished. I'll talk about that in the next video. And right now, I'm reading all the Marvels, where it's about a guy who read all 27,000 some Marvel comics from 1961 Fantastic Four #1 onward to 2017, I believe was his cutoff for when he wrote this book. But that's really interesting, and I'll talk about that more when we do our Make Mine Marvel month video.
Okay, I definitely want to get him on because I told you I saw him on a Zoom call, and he was fascinating with all the knowledge he gleaned of the Marvel universe and how he turned it, what he has to say about American culture and the spirit of maybe the zeitgeist of the times, as the Marvel books reflect their culture, reflect our culture as they go from 61 all the way up to 2017. It's amazing how he ties it into what our culture was like, and it shows it all the way through, including civil rights and swinging 60s, stupid 70s. I wish I didn't live in the 80s. All those decades.
Are you making up those designations of stupid 70s?
Yeah.
The 70s is one. 70s. I wish I could live in the 70s. That was a great decade.
Is that what do you like about the 70s?
I think the pop culture, the film, that's when film really went in a different direction. Yeah. I think the music as well that's probably the best decade of music I can think of. Maybe the 60s can compete, but I think the 70s is even better. And then the 80s, you get into saxophones and you get into some electric, a lot of electric stuff. Even though I love a lot of 80s stuff because it's just, the 80s is the one decade you can always tell that's 80s. That's like the one decade. 60s and 70s, you can kind of blend them together. The 80s, you know it's an 80s. With a saxophone solo or electric keyboard.
Woofy hair.
Yeah, you can even without the visuals, just with hearing it, you can know if it's the 80s.
Yeah. I will say when I met my wife, she had a perm, and she had a perm for probably the first 2 years of I don't even remember when she went to straight hair, but she definitely had a big perm for the first couple years.
And that's a lot of work to maintain too.
Okay.
I would assume having to get. I don't think.
What have your experiences been with a perm, Taylor? What was college like for you?
Well, I had a perm for quite a few years now. I didn't. I'm just guessing it. It seems like it'd be a complex thing to get done at the hair salon.
I think so too.
A lot of hairspray to maintain that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I do remember clouds of hairspray.
Like how many balls of hairspray did Patty go through in the 80s? Ask her that after this video and get back to me.
You want me to ask her right now?
Yeah, text her and say Taylor wants to know how many balls of hairspray she thinks she went through in the 80s.
Okay, wait.
Maybe that kind of extended into the 90s a little bit too, didn't it? It was more of an updo in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if she had. We got married in 89 and she still had a perm. Kelly was born in 91, so I'm trying to think if she had a perm in that. So what was your question? How many bottles of
hairspray does she think she went through in the 80s? Or as long as she had a perm, whichever you want to ask her.
Taylor wants to know how many bottles of hairspray you went through while you had a perm. ! Also, what years did you have a perm? ? We'll get this perm thing solved on this Why X-Men Annoy Us episode. And Crazy Cassowary about Nightwing. Thanks, guys. I agree. Just wanted to hear what you thought about people saying that. We think they're stupid. Oh, I heard an echo. You got through all 5 Cap books. I got through them all in a weekend, as a matter of fact. Thursdays. Sorry?
Yeah, I was very impressed when you did that.
Well, I think it speaks to the compellingness of the issues written that I couldn't wait to keep going. I read 2 books on Thursday, skipped Friday, read 1 on Saturday, and then the last 2 on Sunday. Because fortunately, I had the time. There were no honeydew lists floating down the stairways. So I devoted myself to just reading until I was tired of reading, and I never got tired of reading it. The only thing that made me stop those days was having to go to bed, and I stayed up late reading those. And I remember both of those well, Sasmer, but we're trying to remember the fun times of the 70s that Taylor has created in his mind. Lots of Aquanet. Yeah, I remember Aquanet. She might have. Last year, Jess said he would read all of Brubaker Cap in January, and he did it.
What is that noise?
I don't know. The crowd was making it behind me.
Sound like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a crowd noise. Okay, now I get it.
Okay, so is there any other reason the X-Men annoy us? Let me just start with this. Do you have anything, or are you gonna think while I talk?
I think I'm kind of tantrumed out. I think there's also just there's so many characters, just way too. It's kind of like, I don't want to make you mad though. The Legion of Superheroes. There's just so many characters to remember. It's almost impossible. And the thing about I heard someone explain the X-Men the best this way. The X-Men is made up of a great cast of characters, but every single fan wants it to be about a specific character. Because there's so many characters that you can't service them all. And so people get really mad whenever their characters aren't spotlighted.
Rodimus Prime Rib.
That could have been a good thumbnail as well. No more X-Men. Instead of she said no more.
Oh yeah, let's have another X-Men series next month. What gets me about X-Men is what's always gotten me about X-Men. I remember specifically, I was in my fraternity my sophomore year. Somebody knocked on my door and said, "Bragg, you like comic books, right?" And I opened the door. I said, "Yeah." Said, "Here, I'm done with these if you want to read them." And I said, "Well, thanks." X-Men, Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. This was around 78. Spider-Man, self-contained story. Interesting. Boom. Batman, self-contained story. Done, and I understand. Superman, same thing. X-Men, what in the holy heck is going on in this book? I don't know the start of this book. I don't know the middle of this book, and I have no idea who are these people, why are they fighting, and why is it taking all of them to fight this one person? What is going on in this book? So I feel like X-Men can be very intimidating for a new reader. That's a pretty obvious statement, I think. But even in the 70s, the late 70s, your golden decade, X-Men was hard to read. You couldn't just jump in, and there wasn't an internet or even comic book stores necessarily. There were a few, but they weren't as prevalent as now, where you could go in and say, where does this arc start, and what does this even mean? Even back then, it was just one long soap opera. It was hard to jump into, and so I feel like that's the way X-Men is. It's one long, super long story where you can drop in and out. Not at all. You have to know what's going on almost all the time to understand it. With powers of, I mean, for the regular person, I have enough knowledge, little bit of knowledge of X-Men to enjoy the stories. But that's what I never picked up X-Men again from 78 until probably X-Men #1 by Claremont and Jim Lee in 92 or whenever that was. So I was just like, come on. Oh, I got to change the password.
I haven't abused it yet.
No, I know. It's funny. It's fine with me. This sums, Aiku, you sum it up well. Who is this random character, and what the hell are the powers of this one?
Someone in the chat described X-Men as the soap opera of comics.
I just did.
Oh, I must have missed that when I was typing.
You are totally not paying attention to me with your all of a sudden wanting to put up people's comments and
That was
call
the
me
that
old
was
man
the
yells at the clouds. I just said that.
that
Soap
was
opera.
that was
It
the
was
first
10 seconds
that
ago.
was the first time I didn't pay attention to the entire show.
Someone in the chat, it's your co-host.
I'll try to be an active listener from now on.
Please do.
I did a good job of listening to you throughout the entire show until just now. I got drunk with power for 10 seconds.
Out of Tom King, Scott Snyder, and Grant Morrison, whose run do you think is the best
Of Batman.
of Batman on Batman? Yeah, I knew what he was talking about. So best may not necessarily be favorite. Let me just say that.
Do you have a thought?
I have a response from my wife.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
From 1986 to 1996, she wore a perm.
Wow, that's a dedication. 10 years.
And then she chopped it all off. I remember that.
Did she say anything about the hairspray bottles?
I'm asking now.
Okay.
She did. She chopped it way off. Got it all cut short. I remember that. Okay, so Tom King, Scott Snyder, Grant Morrison. Whose run do you think is the best? We will give you the answer. Whose is the best? And which one's our favorite? Because for me, that's two different choices.
I think it's the same answer for me.
Go.
I love a lot of Tom King's run. I don't think it's as consistent as Scott Snyder's is. I know a lot of people really don't like his final two arcs. Even though they're not my favorite part of his run, they're still excellent in my opinion.
Wait, who?
Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder. Okay.
I think Scott Snyder's is the best and probably my favorite.
Okay.
Of the three. I think Tom King's is second and Grant Morrison's is third, even though I really enjoy all of them.
And I'm going to agree that Scott Snyder's is the best because I think it's the most consistent. And I think that it is an excellent starting place also for Batman. That was a great New 52 choice for the Court of Owls stuff. And I felt like it was consistent all the way through and enjoyed it all a lot. And I'm due to reread it, but I want to read Batman Eternal first. But my favorite is Tom King's run. I loved that the whole way through, and I'm very aware that nobody agrees with me on this. I'm the only reason I know that is because people tell me. I don't see it on social media or anything because I don't go there for other people's opinions. But people have told me that, well, I think Taylor has, that people are hot and cold on Tom King's run. I totally get it. It's still got two of my most favorite Batman books, Volume 3 and Volume 4. And I'm sorry, but I like the way it ended. I have no problem with the way it ended. Peace and love, peace and love. But that's my favorite. But the best, I agree, is Scott Snyder. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Do self-contained single-issue stories even exist anymore? Most seem to be 4 to 6 issue stories. And don't get me started on the recent, oh my gosh, is it 6 months? Star Wars crossovers at War of the Bounty Hunters? Oh, man.
That event was tedious.
Yeah.
I read the main event on Hoopla, and it was not good.
Oh.
I really enjoyed the Greg Pak, the first two trades of his run on Darth Vader, and I did enjoy the Charles Soule two first trades of Star Wars, of the main Star Wars title, but War of the Bounty Hunters was boring. Not good. The first issue was great, whereas Charles Soule and Steve McNiven focusing on Boba Fett, and it takes an immediate nosedive from there. I thought the whole thing was done by Steve McNiven. It was just the first issue.
Speaking of 70s, what's your guys' thoughts on the Dirty Harry movies? Saw them all in movie theaters?
Some of the best action movie one-liners of all time. What's your favorite Dirty Harry one-liner?
I think that it's still from the first movie. When he gives him the soliloquy about this is a Magnum 44 and the most powerful handgun in the world. And you have to be thinking to yourself, did he shoot 5 times or 6?
6 times or only 5?
Or only 5. And you got to ask yourself, do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you? And then it's a character that ended up being his partner in a future Dirty Harry movie. And he said, hey, I got to know. And he just keeps pointing it at him and he clicks it. He was out of bullets, but he pointed it at the guy. That was awesome. And I worked in Clint Eastwood's restaurant as a busboy for a summer. And I got to see him a lot, but I saw him around town anyway in Carmel. And then at the time, he was seeing Sandra Locke, who was going to be in Buffalo Billy, I think. I remember really enjoying that movie, but she was also in a Dirty Harry movie that had a wildly inaccurate scene death in it. Whichever the first Sandra Locke, well, it may not have been her first, but the end of the movie is they feature a guy getting pushed off a roller coaster and impaling himself on the boardwalk in Santa Cruz. He gets pushed off the roller coaster and impales himself on this giant building. The roller coaster is 700 or 800 feet away from this building. It's not even close. They had it so that like the build and only somebody that had been to the boardwalk 8,000 times like I had would recognize that the roller coaster was way down here and the pointy top entrance was like right here. That was my only gripe with the movie. I said, hey, that's not accurate. And my girlfriend said, shut up.
My favorite Dirty Harry quotes from the second movie, Magnum Force.
Yeah.
The man's got to know his limitations.
That's a classic and a very excellent quote. That's a good quote.
I think one of my favorite action movies, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is the undefeated champ of action movie one-liners.
Yeah.
And my favorite is Total Recall. Did you ever see Total Recall?
Yeah, but when it was first out, I haven't seen it.
Remember how Sharon Stone is his wife, but it turns out she's an assassin trying to kill him?
Yeah.
He gets the beat on her with a gun, and she says, but honey, we're married. And he shoots her and says, consider that a divorce. That was the best one-liner of an action movie I can think of.
Here's Marcelo, who likes the Grant Morrison Batman.
It is really good. I'm not saying it's not good. They're all 3 excellent runs.
Oh, yeah, we're not arguing. We're just giving people's opinions. Snyder, just because Court of Owls is so good. Jess is going to say King.
I almost consider the Black Mirror part of Snyder's run, even though it's not technically part of the New 52 run. But That's probably my favorite Scott Snyder Batman stuff. I love that absolute. That's one of my favorite absolutes that I own.
Rose Gray, why did you write that 3 times? That makes me 10 times more likely not to put it up. Love and peace, peace and love. That's right. Taylor's mutant ability is forgetting his co-host comments.
Oh, of the 2 of us, I don't think my mutant power is forgetting.
Oh, forgetting my comments. I listen to what you have to say and then I comment. You're getting lost and you're drunk with power because
I remember what you said in the video 6 years ago. Get over it.
You're drunk with power because you have the keys to the show now.
You're focusing on 10 seconds of a 2-hour show.
No, it's been happening more and more. I see when I'm talking and I make jokes that should make you laugh. You're staring into your screen.
You're just making stuff up. Now you're drunk with power.
I didn't I do that?
I think you said that Scott Snyder's run's more consistent, but you love Tom King's run the most because it's your favorite because it has the stories, your favorite stories of Batman.
Volumes
3 and 4. I was listening. Don't start judging me based on the jokes I don't laugh at. Who do you think you are, Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, I started collecting well, I didn't even get a reaction. Your eyes didn't even make contact with me. That's how I knew you're staring into the screen. Yeah, that's better. I stopped collecting the Star Wars stuff with War of the Bounty Hunters. Those series indeed started great, but yeah, nosedive. Well, I know Aiku, we're lucky to have you at a commercial right now. I've got the game on outside. Aiku's a big NFL fan. And I have to tell you, the greatest thing ever anybody's ever texted me was, and Patty said she didn't need much hairspray. Her perms were so good.
I'm disappointed. I was hoping it'd be a lot.
Like, we had to take out stock in the company.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
Melanie was, Omar's wife, Melanie, was texting me just to check in. And we have a friendship where we check in with each other.
Unlike Omar.
Although she doesn't know me well. She thought Omnicat was my daughter. And I said, well, they are the same age. And she said, oh, okay.
We could be your daughter and son.
What's that? Oh, yeah, definitely. You guys could be. But she's so funny. She doesn't know sports at all, and she freely admits it. I said that my daughter was coming over for the playoff game tomorrow. She said, oh, good. What kind of sports ball throwing is the playoff? I really don't know. Baseball? Sports ball throwing. That's the best. I want to always call everything sports ball throwing now. She is so funny.
Is Omar not a sports ball throwing guy?
I don't think I've ever heard him talk about it, really. I don't think he I don't know that he follows it at all.
Yeah, I live in a tough state not to be into sports.
Yeah, you really do. With the Penguins and the Steelers.
I was so happy when they lost. I don't have to hear about it anymore. I don't have to hear about Ben Roethlisberger anymore in his final season.
Right. Director Matt Reeves said the Court of Owls was his favorite Batman story ever and that he would love to adapt it.
Well, he has the power to do so.
What's your fave DC book right now? Well, we're reading Marvel all month, but the last DC book I read was Nightwing, and I liked it a lot. I would give that. I would say that was a solid. You know what? I'm going to start putting in my reviews gradations like 4.4 and 4.8 and 3.9 and stuff. I would give that a solid Nightwing. I will give a solid 4.5 out of 5.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite book from DC being published right now is Nightwing.
Was that your favorite book of last year?
He said right now. Like, what's your favorite? I think he means ongoing DC book. I could be wrong.
And so it's Nightwing for you too?
That's a fair ongoing DC book right now.
Oh, well, let me think then. DC, Omni, what do I look forward to all the time from DC?
Well, I'm not usually up to date on current stuff because I know James Tynion's run on Batman's over. Now it's Joshua Williamson coming up.
I'm way behind on everything DC. What's your fave DC book right now? I read it online and it should be coming. That can't surprise anybody. Harley Quinn, not the Big Bang Kill tour. It's the first one with Stephanie Phillips writing it. It was really good. Oh, sure. All right. I'll put it up then. Morrison and New 52 Batman should disappear. Oh, Morrison is the greater and New 52 Batman should disappear. Okay. There's Rose Gray's opinion. Are you agreeing about the sports ball throwing?
He's agreeing that you're drunk with power. He's agreed that you're drunk with power and you're trying to control what I laugh at. That's what he's agreeing with me about.
Yes, I'm commenting during ad breaks. LOL, sick of the same Dutch ESPN promos all the time. I have not, but I am really looking forward to reading it. It sounds epic.
And his Dark Ages at Marvel miniseries.
No, wait a sec. This is Tom Taylor?
Yeah, he did both.
He doesn't have an exclusive with DC then.
This is before he signed that exclusive.
Oh.
I'm bummed that he did an exclusive at DC because I loved how he was going back and forth doing different stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited that he's doing more DC stuff, but I liked how he did, Family Neighborhood Spider-Man, All New Wolverine, Dark Ages, and then he went over to Nightwing, other stuff with DC, but whatever. He'll still be good.
Yeah.
I'll read anything that he writes. Even if he did Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Well, he did a good job of that in All New Wolverine. That'd be a hard sell for me, though.
Me too.
Who would be the one character you'd have a hard sell, even if it was written by Tom Taylor?
Oh, you named it. I can't stand that book. Unreadable Squirrel Girl. I just absolutely can't stand that book. And I was excited for it. Dean, I would love to do more of these. You and I communicate, I think, through Instagram, or do you have my email? You can always write me at omnidogsvault2@gmail.com. That's my YouTube email address. omnidogsvault2. Let's see if do I actually have that as a banner? No, I don't. I have Old Man Yells at Comics.
I just created that
all of
one.
A sudden.
That's where I was spacing.
Yeah.
For 10 seconds.
If you have something specific, please send me some suggestions. I love doing those, where to start reading comics. So send me some suggestions. Any kind of suggestion you want. Image book, Marvel, DC. If I've read it and I can do something that's coherent for people, I'm happy to happy to help with that. I love doing those videos. And I love Deceased, but the paper they are using for the hardcover is horrible. It didn't bother me, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't mind matte paper.
Yeah, I don't either, but I understand people who don't. I get it. And then the chat's having a discussion with itself. So let's go back here. Simeon's late. We forgive you, buddy. This is a question that I don't feel informed enough to answer. I don't
think it affected the X-Men as much as it did the Fantastic Four. I think
because they were forced coming back into comic book form.
Well, it's pretty well documented that for a long time, Marvel obviously didn't have the film rights to Fantastic Four or to X-Men. The X-Men are so well selling that they could just cancel it. But for a while, they were trying to really push the Inhumans, and that just didn't really work.
No.
A lot of people speculated they're trying to have the Inhumans take the spot of the X-Men, but that just never really came into fruition. But the Fantastic Four has never been one of the best-selling Marvel books, even since their inception. Spider-Man always sold better. X-Men always sold better. Fantastic Four has never been one of the best-selling books at Marvel. And so I think that, in addition to not having the film rights, led to them shuffling it for a while. And a part of that is also because of Secret Wars and what happens to them at the end of that event. But I think that did play a part in that. And then once they did get the film rights, they kind of come back.
Right. All right.
So I think it definitely affected the FF more than the X-Men.
Yeah. Oh, they're talking about New 52. Any Omnibus reprints you guys are looking forward to this year?
I just got the Ultimate Spider-Man. That was reprinted this year in January.
You've already got it?
I've already got it. I'm trying to think of what else. I can think of Omnis I'm excited about. I'm trying to think about reprints, though.
He said Omni reprints.
Yes, yeah, that's what I said. I'm trying to think of the reprint side of it.
I think I've got everything that I want, generally.
Yeah, you basically do. So I'm trying to think of what else I really want that's a reprint. I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of one right now.
Mm-hmm. You've stumped us, Rodimus Prime Rib.
I did say one, though. Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
I did have it. Just came out this year.
What? Do you already know about the upcoming Carrie Andrews Spider Emma Frost variant? I do not know anything about it, NFL dude. Would you like to send me a cover shot of it to omnidogsvault2 at gmail.com. That's omnidogsvault2 at gmail.com. I really should have a banner for that. Let me put that in there. Omnidog, because somebody else got Omnidogs Vault 1 and Omnidogs Vault, and they never tried to hold me hostage to pay up for it, which I would never do anyway. Omnidogs Vault 2 at gmail.com. And somebody also got Omnidogs Vault on Instagram. Who the heck are they? Why would they even want that? That's stupid. So yeah, there's my email. Wait, why did I put up my email? Oh, for you to send me the cover of the Spider Emma Frost variant. Thank you. And Dean, that's where you can send it to me too. Did you like this run of John Byrne's Doom Patrol and Fourth World run? I didn't care for that, either of them, at all. Hard at all. Hard no. No, don't get them, don't read them. I thought they were awful. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not sorry. They're awful. They're not good. Jerk. Have you guys read Grant Morrison's Invisibles? That's one crazy book. I read it with the addendum that I downloaded from the internet to explain it all as I read it, and I still did not understand it. The covers were gorgeous to the singles, but that book was over my head. It went over my head, and there are a couple of books like that. Little Bird went over my head.
Jack the Repairman.
Jack the Repairman went right over my head.
See, I always listen to you.
That was before you got this power.
Do you remember what the joke was that you tried to make that I didn't listen to?
There's something about your wife. Yeah.
Was it really?
No.
I was gonna say.
Okay, how about any new Omnis announced? What new Omnis are we looking for? That's good.
I really want the X-Men by Hickman Omnibus. I'm excited about that.
I am most excited about the Phantom Stranger Omnibus. That's actually happening. It's solicited. I can order it, but I'm not going to from DCBS. I'm going to wait and get it from IST. Phantom Stranger. I can't think of what else. Well, I can't think of what. New Mutants 2. I can't wait to read New Mutants 2.
It's not an omnibus, but I'm really excited about the Parker Martini edition, Volume 2, which I hope it actually does come out in May. This has been crazy roller coaster.
Is it May? I thought it was even later than that.
Let me look. I'll look on Amazon and see what it says.
Okay, Mr. Tex, here's a vote for Byrne's Fourth World. So don't listen to me. Listen to Nicholas K. He's loving it. So I don't know what I'm talking about. I just didn't care for it. But here's a fellow viewer that loved it. So go with that.
It's listed as May 3rd on Amazon.
Oh, good. Sasmer, not sure if you saw earlier, but Marvel listed Strange Academy hardcovers, 6 issues for $45. Amazon has it higher, but I pre-ordered for $32. So are we thinking that it's just 6 issues then for $45?
Well, no, I saw someone say earlier that they saw it for $75, but I don't know.
At Target, that was Marcelo, I think.
So I'm just confused as to what's going on right now. Maybe we'll find out for sure sometime soon. I have no idea.
Well, I think 6 issues for $45 is a lot.
That's also crazy.
Should be 12.
That's just as crazy as 12 issues for 7. No, actually, that is crazier. If what I said earlier is true, that's even crazier. $75 for the same 6 issues, but with different color, or with no color.
Okay, thank you, NFL dude. I'll try and let's see. Has he sent it yet?
You see what Rafael Miranda just said, Jess? You're gonna be very happy.
Very happy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm way behind. Yeah, baby. Thank you, everybody that flooded his chat with requests of Gwenpool. That I totally appreciate that. Thank you.
Didn't you say you're the reason why you got that Marvel printed the Captain America by Remender Omnibus?
Oh, only because I bought the trades.
Oh, I thought you said you convinced Omar to make them do it.
No, that was Wolverine.
Okay.
The first reprint. That was the first reprint of the Frank Miller, the big, huge one. I influenced him on that, but I need all the people to request Gwenpool because that was an easy sell to his contact at Marvel for Wolverine. Gwenpool is going to be a different thing. But if they, I hate to keep using Power Pack. I'll pick something else. Cloak and Dagger. If Cloak and Dagger can get it Omni, then Gwenpool should too. Oh yeah, the question.
Oh yeah, I do really want that.
Catwoman of East End. I'm not upgrading. That's the Brubaker stuff, right?
No, I had a fan send me those thick trades, and I'm fine with those.
Is that the Brubaker stuff?
Yes,
Yeah.
That is the Brubaker. So I'm not going to upgrade.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm actually excited for the Doom Patrol by Rachel Pollack too. Older Omnibus question: Deadpool Origin Omni and Deadpool by Posehn Degener at my local local Ollies. Should I pick them up? In my opinion, my favorite Deadpool has been Posehn and Duggan. It's huge though, and has been known to have binding problems. So, Deadpool Origin Omni, I don't have that because I think I have the material in something else. I think Deadpool Origins pulled from other things that I already had. But if it's at Ollie's, it's a good book. But Posehn and Duggan were my favorite. So if it has decent binding, I say yes.
Yeah, I like the Posehn and Duggan run, but I also have the hardcovers, so I can't really speak to the quality of the Omnibus, but I have heard it's bad.
Yeah, Aiku agrees. The material's great. Binding generally has issues, though.
But doesn't Duggan have a lot more other hardcovers besides those 4 original ones? Isn't there like
Duggan continued without Posehn? Yeah,
right. I don't have those. I don't have those though.
I'm not saying it wasn't well received. It's just not my jam, baby. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me.
I don't think the original Fourth World was for you either.
Barely.
I mean, I've never read it. I just know I've read about it a lot in different comic books about comics, about how Jack Kirby's undeniably one of the best comic book artists of all time. He's the king, but he's not the best writer. And that was seen most clearly in the Fourth World when he was given free reign to do what he wanted. But the concepts are great, though. The concepts are fantastic. It's just the plotting and not the plotting, but the dialogue in particular.
I think that I may not be a John Byrne fan.
Really? Wow.
I'm starting to think about it, and I didn't like his namer in particular.
Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four, I own but haven't read yet.
What about Man of Steel?
Okay, yeah, I like that. I did like that. What else he's done everything. X-Men, Spider-Man? I haven't read it.
He did Spider-Man too, didn't he?
I haven't read that if he did.
Didn't he do that reimagining of Spider-Man like in the 90s or something where they did like not a reboot, but I can't remember what it was called. That's gonna bug me.
Yeah, so as far as Fourth World goes, do what your heart says. If it's well received and well reviewed, don't listen to me then. It just wasn't for me. So this is a case where you should not listen to me. Wherever, peace and love, whoever was the first person to ask this, definitely get Fourth World by John Byrne.
Did Jess just tell me not to listen to him? Because I wasn't listening. No mistake.
Death and Return of Superman New Edition. I'm really debating if I actually need this Omni. I've had 3 of them and sold all 3 of them. And I'm debating if I need it too.
Oh my gosh. Why have you sold it 3 times?
Because it got up to be $230.
Oh, okay.
And I knew the story by heart. That was one of the things I read in floppies. And I actually liked that story. I liked it had a lot of interesting beats in it. And I thought it was, I thought it was compelling enough that it kept me reading all the various books that came out with it. So I think I'm probably going to get this and actually read it. But then that's it. I don't care. And it better be everything in it that is supposed to be in it. I hope it's not like the first one where it left out half the story. But if it's complete, then I'll get it because I think it's an important book for me.
You should buy it because you were on the news about it.
That's right. I was interviewed for Superman's death when it came on the my teeny little LCS in Old Town Alexandria. Had a news crew come in and I got interviewed about the death of Superman. Yeah. Oh, Gerard is confirming 6 issues are in color and black and white, so 12 total.
I will buy the trade paperbacks because that is dumb.
Same. Oh, that is sweet. What kind of wait? What's going on there? Is that she's like Spider? Wait a minute. This is my upcoming art channel, not my directing channel. So back to the comics. Upcoming variant for Spider-Man 60th anniversary puts a spin on the White Queen Emma Frost. Let's see if I can share this. Share screen. Chrome tab, White Queen. Okay. Let's see if I can get it a little bigger.
Yeah, that's a Just Brag cover.
Yeah, totally.
Cheesecake cover.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Easy there.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, right there. Now you can see it. She's spiderized.
So I'm sure you'll be buying that tonight.
Do I have to leave the house? No. I'll write my LCS and ask for it. I'll have them put it in my box.
They put everything Harley Quinn in your box. Just put anything cheesecakey in my box.
Here it is, NFL dude. Thank you. Nice. And I kind of agree with this. Duggan was pretty good, but not awesome like when he was with Posehn. Carl and I went with the Deadpool Classic Omni, the best Deadpool for me. I am just got done reading the Joe Kelly Omnibus for Deadpool for Make Mine Marvel Month, and I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. How much time do you have there, buddy?
I'm ready to call it a night.
Okay.
I'm getting pretty tired. My sleep is more precious than it used to be.
I did, but then I bought it back. Byrne Spider-Man isn't great. I'm not big on Byrne either, but I did like Ganthet's Tale and Critical Error. You should be Byrne's FF Omnis this year, Jess. Really redefine the team, especially Sue. And it was one of Marvel's top sellers during his run. Oh, yeah, this is the one with She-Hulk in it, right?
I've heard a lot of people say his run is one of the best FF runs.
Okay, I will definitely read it. I will definitely read it this year. I pre-ordered Death and Return just for the whale possibilities. The hype and expectations Destroy Burns Man of Steel for me was just okay, but I expected to be blown away. I am more than happy with the HCs. I'm sticking with my trades.
The hype can be a double-edged sword, that's for sure.
Omnidog, in case you missed it, if you hadn't noticed and no one had brought it to your attention, Phantom Stranger Omni has been postponed to November. Aha.
That sucks. It just doesn't have enough to read right now.
What will I do until November?
What will you read? What you possibly read?
I don't know. I appreciate that, Next Imaginaut. Thank you. I'll just wait until November to get it from wherever I get it. Is the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run a good jumping on point for the character?
Yes.
Yes.
It is the jumping on point. I can't think of any other jumping on point.
No, this is the one that's the one to jump on.
This is the defining run on the character.
Oh man, I want a reprint of the Deadpool by Joe Kelly Omnibus. I didn't know it was out of print. Deadpool has fallen off the face of the earth recently, so I'm not expecting a reprint anytime soon. But maybe there'll be a Gwenpool one. Jess, is there any specific story/run to be made into a new omnibus by Marvel other than Gwenpool that you want so bad? Let me think about that. Gwenpool's the obvious one. I would also like Spider-Man 2099. I don't know that. Has he announced that? I feel like I said that and somebody said he announced it already.
I think people are expecting it, but I don't think it's happened yet.
Oh, all right. Well, I'd like Spider-Man 2099. Let's see. No, I have it in trade paperback, so I'm not going to upgrade that. I can't think of anything. Spider-Man 2099.
Oh, I know one for me. I want Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man by Zdarsky.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised that hasn't been made into an omnibus yet.
Okay.
Well, I am excited for the Howard the Duck omnibus too.
I'm getting that. That was fun.
Isn't he a PI in that?
Yeah.
That sounds like
it's extremely funny. It is extremely funny. Let's see. I'm going to keep my hardcovers for Hulk. What have I not bought? I guess. Well, I kind of want to read King in Black. So I'm okay, but that's already been solicited. King in Black has. Okay. I'm doing a bad job here. I can't think of. I can't think of anything.
How about Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel?
Oh yeah, I would upgrade that to support her. That book has been fire. That was so fun to read.
As the kids would say, hello, my fellow kids.
Hello, my fellow kids. That book has been flame emoji.
This book slaps.
Slaps. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to try and work that one in. Riley uses that all the time, and it's
Riley's too old to say that. I'm the same age as him. He is too old to say slaps.
Even Riley is okay.
Yeah, if you're above 30 years old, you should not say slaps.
Here's a good question for you.
I would say no. I love this run. I think Daredevil in particular is read so much better if you read it in a certain order. I think really starting with Frank Miller's run is the best advice I could give you. I think you can skip ahead to Kevin Smith stuff, then Bendis, then Brubaker, then Wade, and then you can do Zdarsky's. I'm not saying it'll be totally lost, but there is a lot you're going to miss out on because it's really the toll that Matt Murdock's suffering has taken on him and how he's really worn out as Daredevil. And you don't really get the impact of that unless you've read all those other runs. So I would say really go back to Miller and Miller's Daredevil because it's really good also. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd go to Miller, then go to Kevin Smith, then Bendis, Brubaker, Wade. Souls is also really good, and then Zdarsky's.
Oh, that's right. Souls came before Zdarsky.
Because the end of Soul's run does lead into Chip Zdarsky's run to a certain extent as well.
Okay. I'm still trying to think of what X books I would want. Not even X books, but Marvel books. But it doesn't have to be. Oh yeah, he asked about Marvel. Okay, yeah, I'm flaking here. Sorry. Yeah, there were 6 trades, and a 7th that was really well written by Leah Williams. There's 6 trades, and they're all badly out of print. There's several of them that are waylets already, so that's why it really needs an Omni. 2099, not yet, but anticipated. Okay, Spider-Girl Omni. You can have it, but I'm not getting it because I've already got the complete collections. But that is a good one.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever update from complete collections. They're really nice to me.
Yeah. King in Black with all the pointless tie-ins is just the Kate's Venom Omni.
That's why I'm just getting the trade. I just don't want to read all the tie-ins.
Just the central King in Black story?
I did the same with Absolute Carnage. I just don't care about the tie-ins. You get the tie-in issues, and you get the Venom issues that are in the hardcovers already. I just don't really care about what's going on with the Hulk and Absolute Carnage. I just don't really need to know.
Well, I did notice that the tie-ins for King in Black on a lot of the Marvel books I've been reading recently had very little to do with King in Black.
But Beta Ray Bill spun out of King in Black. That very tangentially was connected to King in Black.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite book I've read this year so far.
Yeah. And I like that book a lot too.
That was awesome. Whoa.
Whoa.
Chat. Omar from Year Mint Condition. No, I'm just joking. That's not let's say it is, Jess. Omar just gave us $10.
This show slaps. There, I said it.
Jess,
this show slaps.
Take a picture and send it to Omar and say thank you for supporting our X-Men hating show.
Okay, just a sec. Okay, smile. I will send that to him.
That's funny.
Thank you, buddy. I don't have anything that I can actually show like Omni Bros where there's a dancing French fries. And then what I do have is not appropriate for a minister of comics to appear on. So I can't give you a celebratory video, but you have our heartfelt thanks. Thank you so much, Omar. Oh, this is what we need. I already have Green Lantern Corps custom bound, but it would be really nice. And they're from the trade, so I don't have any ads, but it would be really nice to get DC to do that. That's great, Mr. Awesome, to have that. And that took me a solid month of, you know, that scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the
Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah. That took me a month of that kind of figuring out to map that book because there's so many trades and I had to figure out what went where.
Do you think you'd ever do a Dawn of X custom print?
No.
Are your custom print days over?
Never. Well, no. If I had a book that I wanted to, but I'm not doing that for Dawn of X. I enjoyed it, but forget it. It's like
forget it.
It's like $75 a book to do it now. It's really expensive.
That would be a lot for that.
Yeah. Agreed on Gwenpool. Lean on Omar. You guys need to lean on Omar. Everybody that's important in Marvel sees that chat and they go by what the fans say. So Omar doesn't need to listen to me. Omar needs you guys to show in his Saturday chats, especially what you want. And that is what you want is Gwenpool. Because it needs to come from the fans, not just this old man yells at Omar. Oh, I know the answer to this question. That's Becca somebody from the WWE or something. It's Here it is. But everybody loves this picture. She's a wrestler and she is extremely strong. I have a feeling that Kelly Sue DeConnick Captain Marvel will get an omnibus soon. There was discussion of that a few weeks ago. Well, you're going to get it because I just bought the other 2 trades.
Did you find volume 4?
It turns out I didn't need it. Hers are just the first 2 trades.
Got it.
Can Old Man Yells at Omar be the new live show? Becky Lynch, my fave wrestler at the time I changed my avatar. You tried to change your avatar back to something else, and we made you turn it back to this, right? Right. Old Man Yells. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, Aiku, but I know that he I am not close enough to the situation to start name checking people, but I know the gentleman that Omar works with pays attention to what goes on in the chat. He does pay attention to what fans want. So I don't know about that particular title. Right, Jess? She's still cool. She is. I saw her in an ad and she was extremely strongly built. Okay. Well, the X-Men annoy us, and you heard why. And thanks to Taylor for making that great thumbnail. It was perfect. And I'm sorry, my daughter just texted me about the football game, and I saw it up on my screen. Minister of Comics, where can they? Yeah, I know his name, Mr. Tex. I'm just. Oh, did you just want to put it in there? I didn't feel it was my place to say who it was. So
everyone knows it's that guy, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't. It's not my place to say it. Where can they find you on the famous IG, where you do so well with your interesting posts about reading comics?
Well, my fellow kids, you can find my slappy Instagram account at Minister of Comics. It is lit, fam.
Does it slap?
It is straight fire, Jess.
Straight fire, and it slaps. I'll leave this question for you, Minister of Slaps.
I'd say Velvet. And Jess will say the Fade Out.
That is correct.
But I don't listen to him, so what do I know?
Apparently. No, it's fine, Mr. Tex. It's fine. No problem at all, really. It wasn't for me. It was more for you to say, not me. It's a banger. Is that a British thing? It's a banger? Or
people say that a lot, yeah.
Do American fellow kids say it's a banger?
The fellow kids say it.
Fellow kids say it? Okay. You can find me, Omnidog, on Omnidog's Vault, and on Instagram, Omnidogs_Vault, where I have a ton of stuff I need to post. I just need to do it. And I will be doing what Dean Winchester wants me to do, and that's make more introductions to books. So I think that's great. I'd love to do introduction to books or how to start reading. Last question. So if I came across the Dawn of X trades for cheap, would you recommend that I pick them up? Only if there's like $5 a piece and you want to know every single thing that happens between House of X, Powers of X, and X of Swords. It does lead right into X of Swords, and the more knowledge you can have going into X of Swords, the better. And I will say for X of Swords, the first half is just a setup. Wait, do you want me to? You haven't read it yet, but you don't care what I think.
That's true.
Okay. First half is just a setup. Second half is fantastic. So I got to go watch the football game. My daughter's going crazy about it. X-Men annoy us. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to the chat. Thank you to everybody watching right now and afterwards. Appreciate the chat. It was really good tonight. A lot of good things said, spoken, and peace and love to our $10 super chatter. And catch me on Omni Bros Live on Monday night. Right on, man. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Baturdays, Baturdays, Baturdays. Omnidog in the Minister of Comics. Talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the past. Baturdays, Baturdays,